Hey everyone, how are you all doing tonight? I see I got a lot of people in the chat already. So I'm going to just start going down the list as normal and saying hello to everybody. And of course, I can't miss Ashley, who was the first one here. Prompt as always. Thank you, Ashley, in Colorado. How are you doing tonight? And nope, you didn't miss the beginning. And of course, we can't forget Poor Man's Homestead in Canada. Thank you very much for joining us. And Brooklyn, I'm much appreciated. And Ashley says, Nomi just had an awesome premiere of the Northern Lights. Yes, both he and John in Alaska both filmed the Northern Lights last night. I attempted, but they were directly above the cabin last night. And so I couldn't really get a very good shot of them, but I'm going to try again tonight. And hello, Linda. How are you doing all the way from Colorado? Appreciate you joining us again. And Mrs. Smith, I'm so happy you're here as well. And Brooklyn says that she missed Nomi's premiere, but supposed to be reorganizing her food storage right now. We all have things that we should be doing. I know I keep looking around the cabin thinking, oh my goodness, I need to get to that and that and that and that. So I'm right there with you, Brooklyn. And Ashley, thank you for reminding everyone to give a thumbs up. I very much appreciate that. And thank you, Brooklyn, again for doing so. And Billy Bob, welcome, welcome. Thank you for being here with us again tonight. And Ashley, of course, she's patiently waiting. I mean, he's patiently waiting. And Big T, thank you for being here. I appreciate it. And Clint, we can't forget you all the way from East Texas. And there is Rob. Hey, Rob, how are you doing tonight? Coming to us all the way from the Curmudgeon Inn in Talkeetna. And hello, Pam. How are you doing tonight? Coming to us from Wisconsin. And hello, Tiff. How are you doing tonight? Appreciate you being here. And hello, Boo Cotton. How are you doing? Much appreciating your joining us tonight. And Ira, so happy you could be here too. Ira says, so happy um, to be here. Regards from my mom, Lorraine, and I from South Georgia. Well, thank you. Thank you. Much appreciated. And hello, Wayne. How are you doing tonight from Denver, North Carolina? Nice of you to join us. And Carol says, hi, Alon. Hope your week has been great. I'm from Alabama. My week has been fantastic so far. I hope yours has been too. And thank you for joining us all tonight. And of course, my dear friend Jay Delaney. How are you doing tonight? And Jay says, how's the most beautiful woman in Alaska? When I find her, I will be sure to ask. And hello, Haley. How are you doing tonight? Haley is coming to us from Australia, and she says, good morning, good mid morning. Hope you and everyone else are well. We are doing fantastic. I hope you are too. And hello, Elizabeth France. Nice of you to be with us. And Rob says, sorry, I had a bit of a lag, but I think I'm caught back up. Nice, nice. And Lorraine Poe, I'm sorry, Lonnie Poe. How are you doing tonight from Maryland? Nice of you to be here. And hello, Donna. Donna says, hello, Alone, and everyone else. Good to see you all here. We agree. Good to have you with us. And hello, Wandering Gypsy Hikes. How are you doing from the panhandle of Florida? And there's our friend Nomi, who we were just discussing, and your premiere of the Northern Lights last night. I hope everyone goes and checks that out. Thank you for posting that, Nomi. I was telling everyone I tried to capture the Northern Lights last night, but they were directly above the cabin, and so I couldn't get a very good image of them from where I was in the cabin. And let's see here. Just everyone saying hello to Nomi and to everyone else. And Ira says, how are the seedlings growing? We have not had a bit of rain in many weeks. Well, my seedlings are still inside because it is still really cold outside. Today, the high, I think, is right around 30 degrees. And the seedlings are about 2.5, maybe 3 inches tall right now. I actually need to repot some of them because they're getting kind of big and I don't want them to get root bound or too caught up in each other since I planted multiple in each starter pot. But they're doing good. I'm going to start some other seeds here maybe this week. If not, then it'll be the beginning of next week. But they are doing just fine so far. Thank you for asking, by the way. And hello, Unbothered by Snakes, coming to us from Detroit, Michigan. Thank you for being here. And Elizabeth says she is in Vancouver, Washington. Beautiful area. Glad to have you here. Naomi says, Clint, we got to stop meeting like this. People going to talk. And Naomi says, that was an amazing show last night. It had to have been an amazing show because my son and his roommate sent me a picture last night from Colorado. They're in the Vail Valley of Colorado. And they sent this amazing shot of the aurora borealis that they could see from their apartment, and the sky was the most amazing shade of lavender, all lit up in different colors. It was pretty cool. And hello, Jim from Wisconsin. Thank you for being here, and Oliver Jackson. Nice of you to join us again tonight. And of course, we can't forget Weed Eater. Thank you for being here again. I appreciate that. Excuse me. Hello, Kathy Barron. How are you doing from Michigan? Thank you for joining us. And Josefa Ortiz, thank you for being here. I really appreciate seeing you here in the chat tonight. And Unbothered says, had or hard frost expected tonight here, maybe the last. Well, that's good. Hopefully you are able to get beyond the last of that hard frost and start getting some stuff in the ground if you're a gardener. I won't be able to start planting anything in the ground here for about another 5 to 6 weeks. So it's going to be a while before that garden gets started. But I am so happy for you that you're just about ready to get to that point where everyone in your area can start gardening. And Brooklyn says, need to find and start some Thai basil seeds. Can't find it for stir fry I'm craving. I know how that goes. That's kind of one of the reasons why I want to start the garden, is so that I have access to some of the vegetables that aren't typically available year round in most grocery stores. And even if they were, I don't want to drive, as you guys can imagine, to go get them. So it's kind of like, yeah, starting the garden is the best thing I can think of. So I hope you find those seeds, Brooklyn. And hello, Lucia from Chicago. Nice of you to join us. I'm not sure if it's Lucia or Lucia. So if I mispronounced it, I apologize. And hello, Tracy Morrison. How are you doing from Northern Ontario? Glad you could be here. Nomstead says, yep, all the colors came out last night in the aurora borealis that we had here over Alaska. That's fantastic. Nomi, I will go check out your video after I'm done with the live stream. And Terry, how are you doing tonight? Terry says hello from uh, you guys put in the initials and my brain goes blank. I'm assuming that's New Brunswick, Canada. Love your videos. Always interesting. Great job. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. And Susan, how are you doing tonight? Thanks for joining us. Kevin McLean, also, thank you for being here. Ira says, loved your food preserving video. I have watched some of your older videos as well. One that I particularly enjoyed was your glacier trip. Oh, that's nice. I had a good time on that glacier trip. Unfortunately, when I went on that trip, it was a 6-hour round trip, and I didn't charge enough camera batteries to make it the full 6 hours. So the last basically third of the trip never got filmed. So if ever I get the opportunity to do it again, I will make sure that I have enough battery life and space available on SD cards to get the entire trip. But yes, that glacier trip was a lot of fun and absolutely beautiful. We had the best weather the day that I did the flyover and the day that I did the trip out to the Columbia Glacier. And Kevin McLean says he is coming to us from Iowa. Very nice. And Lucia says, either I'm new to your channel. Well, thank you. Welcome. I'm so happy to have you following along on my journey. And Tracy says, how is the weather up there? Well, the weather was quite nice for a couple of days, but it has been cold the last, I don't know, 3 or 4 days here. Right now, it is snowing pretty heavily outside, and the temperature is hovering right around 30 degrees outside. It never got above freezing today. And Ashley says, I hope we are past the hard frost. Apple tree in full bloom. Will lose my apples if it frosts again. Oh, no. Well, I hope that your frost does not come back, or a snowstorm, regardless, that might knock off all those buds. But yeah, that's always the scariest part about spring is you see everything start to bud out and look beautiful, and then comes a frost and kills it all off, and it has to start all over again. So keeping my fingers crossed for you, Ashley. And Jean says, hello from Kentucky. Love your post and videos. Thank you very much, Jean. I appreciate that. I appreciate you following the channel and being here with us. Sorry. There's Rob's YouTube channel. Thank you for doing that, Rob. And I believe that he did post Nomi's link up above as well. Sorry if I missed it. And hello, David. How are you doing tonight? I am so glad to see you here. David says, hi, it was cloudy here last night, so missed the lights. That's what I was afraid of here as well. But the skies cleared up early on in the evening. But like I said, those lights were so high up in the sky that they just were not in a spot where I could film them. And Nomstead agrees that hoping that the apple trees are not lost, or at least the fruit to the frost. Ashley said, had a really good harvest last year. What kind of apples do you grow, Ashley? I'm wondering if they're on a dwarf stock or if they're a full-size apple tree. And hello, Thomas. How are you doing tonight? All the way from Northwest Arkansas. Thank you for being here. Hi, Sarah. Nice of you to be here. Sarah says, hi, Alone. It's finally melting here. Nice. And Nomi says he has 3 inches of mud in his driveway. I'm not going to talk about my driveway just yet on the live stream. You'll have to check in this week for this week's video, because that is one of the things that I will be covering is some of the things that are going on outside of the cabin here on the property. So look for that video. Hello, John in the house, my friend John in Alaska. Everyone say hello to John. Thank you very much for joining us again tonight, John. And Ashley says, Nomi, you could start selling mud pies. Probably make a fortune too if you marketed them as homemade Alaskan mud pies. Hello, Wild Mountain Rose. How are you doing? They say we are getting snow here. That is how I am. I am. It's been snowing all afternoon, and it was snowing off and on for the last couple of days. And the Hay Meadow says, we're having a warm stint here at the moment, so I guess it would translate to a cold snap for you guys. 27 degrees Celsius here today, about 5 to 7 degrees higher than normal. Yeah, that might be, let's see, 27 degrees Celsius. If 0 is freezing, you're probably about what, 50, 55 here. For most people, that probably would feel pretty chilly. Hello, Christina, Ocala, Ohio. How are you doing tonight? She says, have you been on a while? You look beautiful. Well, thank you very much. I have only been on for about 12 minutes now. So you haven't missed a whole lot yet. And Colorado Pack Rat says, we're supposed to get 8 to 10 inches of snow for the next couple of days there in Colorado. Yikes. And that's pretty typical for Colorado to get some wet, heavy snows right around this time of the year. And then it'll be followed by rain. And then all of a sudden it'll warm up there by about Memorial Day weekend. And Wayne Spencer says, hello from New York, at work watching and enjoying. Well, thank you, Wayne. I appreciate that. Always nice to have someone following us or me here and conversing with everyone in the chat, of course. And there is John in Alaska's channel link for everybody. Thank you, Rob. And hello, Christian News and Interviews. It says, although you're living remote, although you enjoy living remote, I still want people to check in on you from time to time. Are you meeting people? Yes, I am. Kinda. I have met some of my neighbors who live down the road from me. And luckily, those neighbors have turned out to be some really nice people. There's a couple that I have gone into town with, a man and his wife, and they are some of the sweetest people that I could ever hope to have met. And along with some of the other neighbors here on the road. So luckily, so far, I have had the best experiences with the people that I have met here. So thank you for asking, and thank you for checking in on me. Also, I do stay in regular contact with my kids and my mother. So they always know what I'm up and about and everything. So I have plenty of people that are checking on me, and they know that if I don't check in at certain times, that they need to start the daisy chain of command calls to get people over here to check in on me. So I make sure that I stay on task. Otherwise, they start to worry. But thank you. Clint says, we've had so much rain here and expecting more the next 3 days. My lawn is mush. Oh my goodness. Well, hopefully it doesn't drown your lawn to this point where it doesn't grow this year because it kills everything off. But I'm sure once things start to dry out, you'll have some of the greenest grass around, Clint. But at least you're not getting all that snow that I keep threatening to send your way. And Rob says to Nomstead, I just washed my truck. I may not be coming over next week if you have that much mud, lol. Ashley says, not sure of the variety, baking type full size tree. Very nice. That is awesome. Hello, Chris. How are you doing tonight? Chris says, good evening to all. Made it. Naked, bleeding, grimy, bruised with missing patches of hair, but I made it. Woo woo. Were you and Dewey off with the Sasquatch? I should I be worried about you, Chris? And Big T says hello. Thank you, Big T. And Big T has a channel, by the way, everyone. If you're interested in Big T's channel, he has two channels. I know he's got a gaming channel, but then he also has a lifestyle channel talking about his life there and his experiences here in Alaska. If you're curious about his channel. And hello, Matt. How are you doing tonight? Glad to have you here as always. And Nomstead says, got a good recipe, Ashley, for the apples. And hello, Empress. How are you doing tonight? Says hello from USA, South Carolina. Well, thank you for joining us all here. And Big T says my CPU arrived from China, so I have all my parts for the Gazette computer. That's the other thing that Big T has going on is he has a Gazette that he writes, where he provides some articles that he writes, as well as some recipes, some comics, and some commentary as well. And Christina says, nice to see you. Well, thank you, Christina. Ira says, I bought a Vitamix blender today, hoping to make smoothies and sorbets with my figs, peaches, and blackberries growing. Oh, that sounds awesome. I do love myself some berries, especially blackberries. They are absolutely one of my favorites. And Rob has provided the link to Big T's channel there. Thank you for doing that, Rob. I much appreciate that. And I'm sure Tony does too. Hello, Brun. How are you doing tonight? Bren says hello alone and hello to everyone that's on the chat. It's a public holiday here in Australia and a sunny day too. I'm making sauerkraut today. Well, that sounds awesome. I thought about doing that last year, but I wound up using up all the cabbage or freezing it before I ever got to that point. So maybe this next year, since I'm growing quite a few varieties of cabbage, and some of them are storage cabbage and some of them are not. So maybe this year I'll get the same thing in. But I'd be curious how you're going about it, Bren, if what you're adding that might make it unique or some tips that you might be able to pass along. John says, I have a nice video of the Northern Lights if interested. I was telling everyone that earlier, John, that you have a video out as well, and everyone should go check it out. I will be sure to do so as well myself. And Ashley says, Nomi, I take them into my mom and she cans amazing apple butter and chunky applesauce. That sounds fantastic. I was thinking about applesauce and apple butter earlier because someone had asked about how the carrots have stored over the winter time, and I was thinking about the things that did store well and the things that didn't store well. And unfortunately, when I had the freeze here in the cabin, the apples did freeze, and before I realized that they had actually frozen, by the time I figured it out, they had actually kind of spoiled. So I was kind of disappointed about that, because had they not spoiled, I would have loved to have made an apple pie or an apple crisp or something out of them. So very nice that you're able to get your own apples off of your tree there, Ashley. And even Nomi agrees. And there is Bren's YouTube channel for everybody. So you can go check out what he's got going on, or what Bren has got going on. Bren also just put up some new curtains in their place. And like they said, they're making sauerkraut. So that is fantastic. And Ashley, again, reminding everyone to give a thumbs up. Thank you very much, Ashley. Bren is saying hi to Rob and hi to John and Nomstead, saying love all your channels. And let's give Alone a like for hosting the chat. Well, thank you very much, Bren. I do appreciate that. And there's Two Bears tonight. Two Bears says, good evening, Miss Alone and everybody else. Thanks for joining, Two Bears. Tracy says, I love all the different foods you make and was wondering if you will be doing a cookbook soon. I have not decided if I would or not. I I don't know, maybe, maybe at some point. But I was today, I was getting ready to film the crab bisque recipe for everybody. And I was looking online to compare my notes of how I make crab bisque to the recipes that I could easily find or readily find online. And I was really surprised by some of the things that I saw online as far as the crab bisque recipes went. And actually kind of disappointed in what I saw online. So I'll talk about that more when I actually get the video posted. But when it comes to things like that, maybe I should post or make a cookbook, but time will tell. So I appreciate the inquiry though. And Clint says, we'll be in a drought in a couple of months, begging for some of that snow. Yep, this is true. Yeah, it will be coming your way whether you like it or not, unfortunately. And we'll have a bit of a drought here this summer as well in the area of Alaska that I live in. Last year we had one, but fortunately it doesn't last for very long. It's right at the beginning of summer and it only lasts for about 2 to 3 weeks. And then the rains come back and things become nice and pliable outside again. But while that's happening, the ground is quite dry and everything crunches under your foot. Hello, Chip. How are you doing tonight? Chip says, good to see you. Well, thank you. I appreciate you joining the chat tonight. Always glad to have you here. And let's see here. Brooklyn's giving us a little giggle there. And Brun says, it's a Vitamix and it's handy. I bet it is. Vitamixes are pretty awesome. And even Brooklyn agrees. She says she loves the Vitamix. Hello, Deborah. Deborah says, hello to all from Queensland, Australia. Love your videos alone. Well, thank you very much, Deborah. I really appreciate that. And I appreciate being here tonight with us. Ira says, I love blackberry cobbler. Yes, that sounds fantastic. Blackberries and ice cream or just sweet cream and blackberries with a touch of vanilla. That's got to be one of my favorite things. Of course, I do love to eat fresh fruit with heavy whipping cream. I'm very guilty of that's generally how I'm consuming my fruit. So probably not the best thing I could be doing, but it's enjoyable. And Rob is saying, welcome. I need to catch up on Big T's stuff. Yep. Yep. He's always got something going on one way or another. So make sure you guys check him out. And Hey Meadow says, hi to Brun. I'm in the sewing room enjoying my, and I'm just going to read the letters out, ANZAC day there in Australia. I'm sure it's Anzac or something, how you pronounce it, but you know how I am with pronunciations. So I apologize if that was wrong. And Nomi says, I was asking for the mud pies, but do love me some apple butter. Matt says, okay, chat and Mrs. Alone, I want to get a stand mixer. Is a KitchenAid mixer worth the cost? I think they are, especially when you can get some of the attachments for them, like the meat grinder and things like that. I had a KitchenAid mixer back in Colorado and I absolutely loved it. And my children were fighting over the KitchenAid mixer as well. So I think it's worth the cost. Everybody I know that's had one would probably agree as well. And Ira says, have you ever made kimchi? No, but I am planning on it because the last few times that I have run into town, whether it's Valdez or Glen Allen or Wasilla, when I did my grocery haul, I looked for kimchi and I was not able to find it. And it is one of those things that I really do enjoy. I eat a large amount of Asian inspired or flavored dishes, and kimchi is one of those things that I really like. So I'll probably actually wind up making kimchi before I ever do make sauerkraut, just because I have some sauerkraut here already. But yeah, so if I do, I'll make sure to make a video of that too, Ira, definitely. And hello, Lenny. How are you doing tonight? It says, intense as your growing season. Intense as my growing season. I'm not sure I'm following that. But if you're asking how long is the growing season, it is typically 90 days here. So it will start at the beginning of June, weather permitting, and then it'll go all the way through June, July, and August. And then about September, we could have a frost come in that might, kill everything off, and potential for snows around that time. But typically, the snows don't start until October. But generally, it's about 90-day growing season here. 90 to 110 days is what they say. And Rob is saying to Big T, if you ever need another writer, please let me know. I was a photojournalist and had my own column for a while back in the lower 48. Very, very awesome. Rob is a jack of all trades. He has so many talents that when I listen to Rob, I'm always thinking, wow, wow. So he's got some big shoes. If someone wanted to follow in Rob's shoes, they'd have some big shoes, to big footprints there to follow. And hey, Haley is saying hello to Deborah. And she's saying in Adelaide here. That's where she's at. And Christina is saying, I love blackberries, can't find them yet. I think it's probably too early in the season, but if you're looking for plants, I'm sure those are available in the growing center. But I did see over Easter weekend that the stores here had some blackberries for sale. Unfortunately, I didn't buy any, because I knew that I was going to have so many other things going on that tending to them wasn't going to be one of those things that I would probably get to, and I didn't want them to go to waste. And Nomi says, or Ashley says to Nomi, I might be able to dig up a recipe. That would be fantastic. And Rob says, oh my God, to Ashley, that sounds good. And hello, AK Homegrown Roots. How you doing tonight? Says sorry that they're late. No worries, no worries. We just just started about 26 minutes ago, so you haven't missed a whole lot. And Matt, or Rob is saying to Matt that yes, I have two. And John saying hello to Brun. And hello, RBH. How are you doing tonight from Arizona? Says, I made it for a few minutes. Well, thank you for joining, even if you can't stay for the whole thing. I appreciate you being here. And Chris is saying, Dewey tried to organize Sasquatch's library with the trademark decimal system, but he ate some beef jerky, and I had to save him with the unicorn and the Loch Ness monster by my side. It was hairy. Yeah, it sounds a bit hairy. Sounds a bit far-fetched also, but who am I to judge? No. And Tracy says, I made coleslaw and canned it. Oh, by the way, Chris, sorry, Tracy. By the way, Chris, tell Dewey that we're missing her here on the live stream. So when she can, she needs to join again. And Tracy says, I made coleslaw and canned it down. And good way to use up carrots and cabbage in the fall. Yes, this is a good way, I would think, as well. And if you have a good coleslaw recipe, I would be interested in it. When I was growing up, my mom made coleslaw, but it was the most simplistic coleslaw recipe you could even imagine. I won't even do a video on it because it is so simplistic. It was literally just chopped green cabbage, Miracle Whip, paprika, salt, and pepper. That was it. It's tasty because of the Miracle Whip, but there wasn't anything in it. No carrots or anything else. Just the cabbage and Miracle Whip with paprika, salt, and pepper. But so if you have a good recipe, Tracy, I would be very, very interested in that. And if you would like, I'll make it on camera and then give you credit for it in the background as well. And Matt says to Rob, it's just hard to spend $400 when there's 200 with a $200 one right next to it at Costco. There are a lot of things that I'm not a brand loyalist on, but there are some things that I think are worth the cost for sure. And the KitchenAid mixer has never let me down. And Brooklyn says, could have had apple pie and apple cider vinegar. Yep, but they were too far gone. I could have probably have made apple cider vinegar, but they were way too gone for the apple pie for sure. And Brent says, I use cabbage and shred it and then add sea salt and rub it in and massage it, then put it into the jars, and the salt preserves it in a very old, simple Balkan recipe my grandma showed me. That's fantastic. That is absolutely fantastic. And Lenny says, if you did a cookbook, definitely how to plan for shopping for 6 months and how to work your way through fresh, frozen, canned, and processed foods. Well, thank you. I will, if I do the cookbook, I will definitely add those tips in. I was actually thinking about some of those things today because, and maybe it was you, Lenny, that had asked, but I did see a comment about how do I plan for 6 months worth of grocery shopping and making sure that I'm staying on top and rotating through things. And so I actually was thinking about doing that in an upcoming video, talking about meal planning and basically the home economics of what it's like to uh, meal plan for 6 months at a time, especially when you're just one person. I know a lot of people, once they become singular in their lives, they have a harder time cooking for themselves or proportioning things, um, so that it makes sense to eat, a home cooked meal as opposed to running out and getting a fast cooked meal or microwave dishes or canned soup. That's what I typically saw with a lot of my family members was when they became single, then all of a sudden they were just eating convenience foods out of their cupboard and not really cooking themselves a meal, and it's unfortunate because it took a toll on their health, I also think. So, thank you again, Lenny. I will, definitely give that some consideration and like I said, maybe do it in an upcoming video. And Rob says, "As long as you can get the other attachments for it." I went with KitchenAid as I have had a few over the years. When I got here, I bought a new one. Their KitchenAid are so good, like I said, that they get handed down, through the years as well too. My mother-in-law handed hers down to, I believe, my former sister-in-law or to one of her grandchildren, and then, um, I handed mine down to my children. My ex-husband handed one down to our children. They're that good that they're basically heirloom pieces of equipment. And Rob says, "Then they told me to keep the old one." Oh, that's nice. So you got to have a few. That's nice. And, Long Tall Texan, how are you doing tonight? Says, "Such a welcome sight to end what has been a long, frustrating day." Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. Good evening, Alone. You are gorgeous as always. Well, thank you very much. I appreciate that, Long Tall Texan, and I am sorry that you had a frustrating day. That's never fun, but hopefully we'll make your night all the better and you'll forget all about it. Nomi says, "Is chat stalling for anyone else?" Well, I hope it's just your internet connection and not mine here. Though with the weather, it could be my connection here because I am on DSL, which is reliant upon overhead lines. But I do have a new camera and a new microphone, so hopefully everything you guys are seeing and hearing is much better than it has been in the past. And Christina says, "I would love a good meatloaf recipe. I try them over and over again." Let me write that down, Christina, so that I can make that in a video for you. I have a s a kind of funny story, not so funny story about meatloaf. I'm not gonna share it here tonight, but every time I hear meatloaf, this story goes through my head. So if I start giggling, you'll know why. Matt says, um, to Rob, "2 is better than 1 if it still works." This is true. But all those attachments nonetheless can make a difference too. Tracy says, "Also interested in wild edibles, mushrooms, different plants that are in the wild that you can eat." Well, for that, really, I'm gonna point you to Gnomestead's channel. Gnomestead has a lot more experience with foraging than I do. I have some limited experience, but when it comes to mushrooms, Gnomestead here out of this group is, in my opinion, the most knowledgeable, especially for mushrooms here in Alaska. So do be sure to check out his channel, Tracy, because he is constantly providing information, and he also teaches some classes there at his property regarding these things. Um, but as far as berries and other edibles, things like that that grow wild, I could definitely do some videos on that as well as, if I ever do that. And Clint says, uh, something to Numstead about not that I can tell. Um, Ira says, "We have months of drought here in my part of Georgia. Oh, months would not be good, especially with all the forest fires that have been going around the last few years. Hello, Mark Carrillo. How are you doing tonight? From Wasilla. Aloha to you too. And Rob says it had an issue with an inverter that he was able to fix. That's great. That is one thing about them is from my understanding is they're not too hard to work on. So maybe one other thing to keep in mind, Matt. Homestead says to Christina, 2 pounds of ground beef or beast, as he put it, and one package of stovetop stuffing, and then serve with a nice either ketchup or tomato sauce on top. That last part I added. Bren says, a few of us Aussies in the house because we all love Alaska. That's fantastic. I think we all love Australia too. And, Dana, how are you doing tonight? Says, "Hi from, Dana in Maine. Nice of you to join us. We're so happy to have you here." RB says, "Do you have trees that you can tap for syrup up there?" Not, on this side of the state, there aren't really a whole lot of birch trees, but in other areas of Alaska, there are a ton of birch trees that people do tap for, the birch water that they'll make birch syrup out of. Um, and we don't really have, at least to my knowledge, we don't really have maple trees here for the most part in Alaska. So, and I don't really know what other trees can really be tapped like that. But birch trees are pretty common up here, and we'll see some people doing that. And Two Bear says, "Here 5 minutes, and you folks made me hungry, and I just ate supper." Hello, Psycho Essentials. How are you doing tonight? Thank you for calling me beautiful. I appreciate that. Everybody likes a good compliment. And Brent says, "Hello to Hey Meadow. I went to the dawn service at, uh, yeah, I'm not gonna slaughter that name by trying to pronounce it today, and it was great," Brent says. I apologize, but I am so bad at pronouncing words until I hear them said, and even then, sometimes I cannot pronounce things. So I have 2 children that speak multiple different languages, and they were trying to teach me how to speak Mandarin one time, and after a few minutes, they told me to stop. They said, "You are not getting any of the pronunciations right. You're saying everything, and it's coming out as something else entirely." And they said me I or they told me I just sounded like I was, having a lightsaber war with myself, when I was trying to pronounce things. So, I know my pronunciations are horrible. AK Homegrown Root says, "I absolutely love when you cook. Anybody else here in Alaska can no longer direct ship live crawfish from Louisiana. Oh, no. It's now considered an endangered species." What? Since when did crawfish, which is an invasive species, become oh, maybe that's what you meant. Maybe that's what you meant, is invasive, and so they won't let you ship it in live. Um, no more Cajun boil, bummer. That that is a drag because, yeah, you don't want frozen crawfish. You know, lobster's fine frozen, kinda. Crab is fine frozen, kinda, but crawfish, you definitely want fresh. You want them alive when you cook them. That is horrible. Crawfish is absolute my favorite, so I'm so sorry to hear that. And Pam says, "I will be arriving in Alaska on May 11th for the first time for a month. Do you have any suggestions on what is a must that I should pack?" Well, I will say to pack a light jacket for sure, and to pack a pair of shorts, a short sleeve shirt, a long sleeve shirt, and a long sleeve or long pants or skirt if that's what you're into. Um, and then also some good walking shoes, tennis shoes with some good tread on them, or some hiking boots that are comfortable, because you might do a lot of walking. But the temperatures in May in some areas might go up to about 60, 65 degrees, and in other areas, or even on the same day, might be as cold as 30 or 40 degrees, and there is a good chance that it'll be raining as well. So, those are my suggestions for sure, and maybe, pack a compactable umbrella as well because, like I said, it could be raining for sure. And Susan says, "Yes, I love my KitchenAid mixer and my Vitamix blender, so worth the cost." I would think so for sure. And Chip is asking how the job search is going. The job search is hit and miss. So I've gotten a few job offers, but the problem with the job offers that I'm getting is that they don't really pay what I feel that I should be making. In other words, I'm not asking for anything more than what I was making before, but they're not even paying that. They're not even offering those type of salaries, which is unfortunate because I'd already taken a pay cut to go to the last employer that I had. Um, and so if they were paying a bit more, I probably would have accepted at least a couple of these jobs. And then one of the other jobs that had come along, even though the pay was okay, they were requesting that I drive into Anchorage once a week and report to the office. And to me, that's just not feasible because then that's a pay cut really for all the miles I'm driving into work. And also in the wintertime, I'm not interested in driving across the state of Alaska. So right now, still looking, but, I'm sure that something will come along. I'm not even worried about it right now. Things are okay right now, um, but at some point, I'm probably gonna have to break down and either accept one of these lower paying jobs or just make a decision of what I'm gonna do regardless. But thanks for asking, Chip. And Tracy says, "Intent." I think Lenny meant intent. Oh, got you. Uh, yep. So my intent for the garden, if that's what was meant, is that this summer I am gonna have the back of my property, leveled out. Right now, there's a great big mound of dirt behind my cabin from what was dug out from underneath the cabin when they built, the basement or the root cellar. Um, I think that was done, I don't know, 6 years or so before I bought the property. Um, so that hill needs to be knocked down, everything needs to be leveled out, the old garden needs to be taken down, there's a lot of saplings that are growing up in there, and once that all comes out, then, I will be planting a garden, but for this year, because I don't have that area fenced in either, I'm going to just do a container garden, but it will be in a dog run. Um, where that dog run is gonna be set up yet, I haven't quite determined, but that is the intent for this year, and mostly I will be growing cold weather crops, so cabbages, so a lot of brassicas, such as cabbages, cauliflower, Brussels sprouts, kales, and collard greens, things like that, and then also, carrots, potatoes, and other root crops. So, I'm a big brassica lover for sure, so I will have a lot of that. And Lenny says, "Kimchi rice with Spam is delicious." Yes, and I also have some Spam recipes coming up. I'd mentioned, I think, on the last live stream that, I had tried to film a couple Spam recipes twice, and my camera work was so bad that I wouldn't even think of, putting that video out because you guys would be like, "What were you doing?" Oh, it was so horrible, but I will get them refilmed, and make sure that I get those videos out, but I agree, kimchi rice and Spam is delicious. And Stephanie, how are you doing tonight? Stephanie says, "Hi, everyone. Hopefully everyone had a wonderful Monday." I agree. And Matt says, "Well, Rob and Miss Alone and Susan say it's worth it. Time to warm up the credit card." Yep, you can't go wrong, Matt. I would stick with the brands that everyone knows as opposed to an off brand with especially for an expensive purchase like that. Hi, Beth. How are you doing tonight? Beth says, "My mother had one of the original KitchenAids from 50 years ago. My sister has it now and it still works perfectly." There you go. And, Lenny says, "Sorry, I'm voice texting." Oh, I know how that goes. It's always hard to get the text to say exactly what you had intended. And Ira says, "I'm with you. I also love Asian inspired food. I cook a lot of Asian and Midwest or Mid-East foods, kimchi and fried rice, before." Yep, I agree. Asian foods have so much complex flavor that they're just hard to stay away from. Hello, Marnie, how are you doing tonight? I hope I said that correctly. And says, "Enjoying your videos. Hello from North Carolina." Well, thanks for joining us tonight, and I'm glad that you're enjoying the videos. Nomi says, "Okay, all of this food talk. No, I got to start a fire and open all the windows to cook." See how you guys are? Yeah, I was just thinking about how warm it is here in the cabin, and I don't have a fire going. So I can imagine if you start the wood stove that you're definitely going to have to open up the windows, which is one of the reasons why I want to get an outdoor kitchen going since I don't have a typical range in the cabin. I just have the little butane stove thing, the camp thing that you hook. It's just one burner. works off the 12-ounce cans of butane. I only have that, and then I have the normal wood stove that I use for heating the cabin. And in the summer months, like even this time of the year, it's just too warm in here to have the wood stove going. And even the other night, I slept with the door to the balcony, the future balcony, the door in the bedroom that leads outside. I had that open all night long because it was just way too warm in the cabin. So it gets pretty warm here, and the temperatures just kind of linger in the cabin. So time to start that fan, and also time to stop using the wood stove. And Rob is saying to Pam, it depends on you. If you get cold, easy pack, warm stuff. I totally missed. Oh, I think that's about the coleslaw or the um my brain just went blank. I can picture it. Sauerkraut. Thank you very much. And Ira says, blackberries here in Georgia abound starting late May. That makes sense for sure. Hello, Coach O. How you doing? It says it's time for bears in your area, mostly big bears out now. Are you seeing any signs of them in your area? Not yet. It was a month ago that I saw a grizzly cross the Richardson on my way down to Valdez. So that was about, oh, I don't know, an hour's drive away from where I'm at, that I saw the grizzly. I've seen lots of people out glassing for them along the Richardson, but I've not seen any evidence of the bears here yet. The only thing that I have experienced recently was I noticed today when I was out walking the property that there was some moose tracks on the property. And about a couple weeks ago, I guess it was maybe a little longer than that, there was a pack of wolves that I could hear behind the cabin, but never saw them either. So I know the bears are going to be coming around soon, but I'm hoping that they don't actually come around the cabin. And Tracy is saying Dewey is hilarious. Yeah, Dewey is my favorite character by far. And Rob is saying lol to Dewey, and the Dewey decimal is too funny. Um, Dennis says, oh, hello. And by the way, hello, Dennis. Sorry about that. I had an itch on my foot. Dennis is saying Delta Junction checking in with 34 degrees and sunny t-shirt weather. Yep, that sounds fantastic. It is not sunny here. It is rather wet outside. Hello, Steve. How are you doing tonight? Everyone say hello to Steve at Steve's Woodworking Homestead. I'm so glad you're here tonight. After I stood you up the other night, I do apologize. And hello, Goyo. How are you doing? Lots of heart and kissy faces. Thank you very much. And Jill says, oh, by the way, hello, Jill. Jill says, hello, everyone. I love coleslaw with Miracle Whip. It gives it great flavor. Yes, it does. Like I said, it was a very simplistic recipe, but it was quite tasty, very sweet tasting. And Matt says, we're supposed to get up to 80 degrees this week in Utah. We still have over 200% snowpack statewide. Wow. The flooding is going to be epic. Yeah, it sounds like it. That is quite a bit. And Clint says, probably have to explain Dewey Decimal to the young ones. Yeah, anybody who hasn't been in a library system. uh, and there is Steve's channel link for everybody to go check out. And hello, blessedly frugal. How are you doing tonight from New York City? Says I'm been watching your journey on video 51. Just love seeing Alaska through your journey. Many blessings. Well, thank you. I appreciate that. And I'm so glad to have you here with us tonight and following along. And Ira says, I had some old vinegar and was wondering if it's still good to use. Then I told myself the worst it could be is sour. This is true. I don't think vinegar goes bad, to be honest with you. Bricklin says, definitely important to stay on top of your inventory for that. This is true. Definitely. Like that is one of the things that I have learned, not only, from living here, but from raising a family and not wanting to go to the grocery store, is that you have to keep a running inventory, at least mentally, if not written someplace. of where you're at with certain things. Otherwise, you find yourself running out of components and ingredients that you need to make something. Ashley says, Nomi, your package was dropped in the mail today. Oh, that's very nice that you sent Nomi something. Yay, Nomi. And Nomstead says, it's way hard cooking and food storage for single servings. This is true. It's hard, I think, too, for people to be able to break down a recipe, especially if they're, using it out of a recipe, a written recipe, to break those, quarter cup and whatever, 2/3 of a cup down into a single serving size. So, maybe a video about that is a good thing, actually. And AK Homegrown Roots is saying hi to Blessedly Frugal. Bren says also hello. And yes, I got two. Yes, I too got hooked and binged on all the episodes. They are great. Well, thank you guys. I really appreciate that. That means a lot to me. And Poor Man says, I have no problem cooking for a single person. I just cook a great big pot of whatever I'm making. I have 2 or 3 meals of it, and then I can the rest. That is very smart indeed. Yeah, a lot of times I wind up making a big pot and then eating leftovers the next day or freezing a portion of it as well. And Numstead is saying thank you to Ashley and that he will keep an eye out for the package. Brooklyn says, I just with the KitchenAid, don't waste your money on the ice cream attachment. It doesn't work. I had 2 arrive leaking brand new. Oh, that is not good. That is never a good thing when you buy something and then it doesn't work, especially when they replace it and it still doesn't work. Tracy says, I will mail you recipes for coleslaw and some other things. Oh, that's very sweet of you, Tracy. I appreciate that very much. Let me know also if you would like for me to make them in a video for everybody and give you credit. And Blessedly is saying hello to everyone. And Matt says meatloaf is a favorite. Well, that's good to know. Hello, Jerry Kirk. How are you doing? Says, sorry I'm late. Yay, live. And Rob is saying hello to Poor Man. And there is Poor Man's channel link for everybody. Tracy says, awesome. We'll check out his channel. I'm sure she was thinking back about Big T. Jill K says, yum, meatloaf is such a comfort food right along with sloppy joes. I have not had a sloppy joe in many, many years. My former mother-in-law used to make sloppy joes from scratch. She never used manwich or anything like that. When I was growing up, it was always manwich out of the can. And so the first time I ever had a homemade sloppy joe was from her. They were really good though. Ashley says, you let the genie out of the bottle alone. Now you have to share the meatloaf story. Oh no. Oh no. There are some things that just are like better off rattling around up here than they are out in the open. Chris says, giggling by the dashboard lights, Alone's tribute album title to Meatloaf. Oh my goodness. Hello, Laura Beth. How are you doing tonight? Says, hello, everyone. I recently found your channel and am really enjoying learning about Alaska. I'm in Michigan. Well, that is awesome. And we are so happy to have you join us tonight. Rob says, go with the Nomi for mushies. He is my master mushy man. I have learned a lot from that gnome. Yeah, he is incredible when it comes to the mushrooms. And Tracy says, I make moose loaf. It's delicious. Oh, I bet moose meat is fantastic. For anybody who has not had the opportunity to try moose, if you ever get the opportunity, that is one meat that I would say is so delicious. When the meats that I have tried, I got some from Nomi. I got some from my contractor. They were not gamey at all. They were tender and absolutely delicious. And John says, I miss my mom's homemade old-fashioned bread pudding fresh out of the wood cook stove. Oh, I bet. I bet that was fantastic. Bread pudding in itself is really tasty. So, yeah, I could imagine. And everybody misses mom's cooking when they can no longer have it for sure. Apologies for everybody. Just had to take a quick drink there so I don't start coughing. Amy says, hiya, Alone and Pup from North Maine Woods. Glad to catch you live. Well, I'm glad you're here with us tonight, Amy. Much appreciated. And Ashley says, John, nothing beats mom's cooking. I agree. Steve says, pardon me for not talking. I'm eating dinner, venison stroganoff. I'm having a mouth orgasm. A mouthgasm, he said. Oh my goodness. Just don't choke on that stroganoff. And Bren says, John in Alaska, I'm sure your mom's was the best bread and made with love. Absolutely. Absolutely. Rob says, our trees are starting to run. We will be tapping for just the birch water this year. So no syrup, just the water. Yeah, that's fantastic too. Noam says to Tracy, there is a playlist on my page for um w- something harvest and another for mushroom ID. I hope it helps you. Numstead's the best, like we said. And AK Homegrown Roots says to Tracy Morrison, 100% agree. Love moose meat. Yes, it is fantastic. Tracy saying, thank you, Nomstead. I will check you out after the live. Hello, Shellyn. How you doing from Seattle? Loving your haircut. Thank you very much. It is actually done really well as far as holding its shape for the most part. I can see like here, I don't know if you guys can see it. There's a little angular piece here, but overall I'm really impressed with how the haircut has done as it's started to grow out a little bit. So thank you for the compliment. And AK, yes, invasive, that's what I thought you meant, invasive on the crawfish. And Sarah saying hello to my friend. Well, hello back to you, Sarah. And Tracy says Pam pack fly dope. Pam pack fly dope. Some of them I don't get. And John is saying lots of money to Pam. Dennis is saying skeeter dope. Pam pack fly dope, skeeter dope. I missed something in the conversation. Clint says crawfish will probably never be endangered. That's what I was thinking. Like they're such an invasive species. Louisiana crawfish tails come frozen and are delicious. I think you can order them online. Not as good as fresh, but good. Yeah, fresh crawfish is absolutely, in my opinion, the way to go. And hello, Shane. How you doing tonight from Texas? Shane, you're always in a different spot every time you comment. I think you're always coming from someplace new, always on the move. And Sarah says, my Chinese friends tried to teach me to say Great Wall, and it caused uproarious laughter. I bet. And Rob is saying to AK Homegrown Roots, if they are shipped in for consumption, why would they not let them in? I would love to have a good old craw boil. I think it's because people have let them go, or some have escaped. You know, if they're doing a cookout by the river, some have escaped and are making their way into the waterways. And there were some that were found not last year, but the year before in one of the creeks. Only two that they found, but you know, it only takes one with babies to make a population boom. So I'm assuming that that might be why they've done that. And hello, Dogman. How are you doing tonight? Appreciate you being here tonight. And Jay Delaney, why did the Florida fishermen fly to Alaska? Oh, for the halibut. Oh my goodness. And Shane says, give the beautiful lady some likes, helps the channel. That it does. Thank you, Shane. I appreciate that. And there is Dogman's channel link for everybody. Be sure to check him out and all of his puppies. And Iris says, I love my Vitamix and KitchenAid too. Best to buy them that they last. Yep. Best to buy items that last. I agree. Rob is saying, tap that thumbs up, folks. Thank you very much, Rob, for that. I appreciate it. AK Homegrown Root says, we do Cajun boiled annually a couple times in the spring. It was a tradition. Yes, I would love a good Cajun boil. Well, if anything, I might be doing one with just crab legs or some shrimp if I'm able to go catch some this year as well, which I am looking forward to doing. And hello, Karina. How you doing tonight? Karina says, I've always wanted to live in Alaska. My two daughters are high functioning special needs. Where is the best pediatric care in Alaska? I am going to let some of the others on here and chime in the chat for that. Being fairly new to Alaska myself, just living here the last 18 or 20 months. I'm not exactly sure how long it's been just yet. And not having small children here in Alaska myself, I am not qualified to answer that question. And Rob is saying to Homegrown Roots, where are you at so I can sneak into that feast? Yeah, invite us. Not that we're trying to invite ourselves, but invite us. Hello, Bill Dixon. How you doing tonight? Bill says, hello, Alone and Kenai from the Pungo Prairie. I had planned to have your crab louie for supper tonight. I didn't have the heavy cream. Making another trek to the village tomorrow for that. Can't wait. Well, let me know, like I said, Bill, how you enjoy it when you finally get a chance to make it. I'm sure that you won't be disappointed. Dogman says, I'm too old to run. I think that makes two of us. And Haley is saying to Brun Free, I nipped up to Galler. We're new in the area, so just came home again. And Alone, it's pronounced Yankalilla. Also in South Australia, you pronounce Anzac Day correctly too. Well, thank you. I'm glad. And thank you for spelling it out in a way where I can pronounce it. I do appreciate that. And Ashley is saying hello to Bill Dixon over there at the Pungo Prairie. He and Tally Girl are have their own channel, and they are quite dynamic, and they are quite a lot of fun to watch as well. And AK Homegrown Roots says Wasilla lol, and we are trying to figure out how to make it work still. Yeah, you might have to do the frozen tells like Clint said. And Missy B says, did you find a new job? Not yet. I did talk about it earlier in the live stream. Some of the jobs that have been offered just are not at the pay that I was making previously. They're below that. And so I'm still looking, but right now I'm doing okay. Just being cautious about what I'm doing so that I don't put myself in the poorhouse. But thank you for asking, Missy, and thank you for joining us tonight. And Jeff Scott, thank you for being here from Cleveland, Ohio. Hello to you as well. And Rob is saying, nice. I'm north of Talkeetna a bit. AK Homegrown Roots is saying, cool. We have a cabin up by Peters Creek. And Kim, hello from Kentucky. Nice of you to join us here tonight. Amy says, how's the melt going? North Maine Woods is slowly thawing out. Mud season is upon us. So here, I'm not really having a whole lot of melt, but I am having some. I know Rob was saying that things are starting to melt out his way in Talkeetna. And here, it's been snowing off and on for the last 3 days. Today it was snowing pretty heavily. So not a whole lot of melting just yet. Rob is saying, I'm up the tracks past Chase. We are whistle stoppers, meaning that he does catch the train for packages as well as to make some treks into town. And Boo Cotton is saying hello to Dogman. Gnome said saying, Amy, same here in South Central, well into mud season. And Dogman is saying hello to Boo. And there is there is Bill Dixon at the Pungo Prairie's channel link for everybody. Thank you for putting that up, Rob. AK Homegrown Root says Oil Well Road across the bridge from the logging road. Oh, I know exactly where your, not exactly, but I know the area where your cabin is. And that is a beautiful area. I'd actually looked at buying some property back there myself. So you are very fortunate to have property back there. And Rob is saying hello to Billy Bob. And Dina Lane says an outdoor kitchen to cook over the fire is my dream. Mine too. It was one of the things that I was hoping to get built in the next year or two. And I think it's going to have to wait. But it's definitely needed here because cooking with the wood stove in the kitchen, in the cabin in the summer months is a bit much. But thank goodness I have a propane cooker that I bought for canning specifically, but I can use that. And then also the little butane stove can go outside as well. And the fire pit, of course. And hello, Darlene Rodriguez. How are you doing tonight? Darlene says it was 90 degrees here in Arizona today. What is the temperature there during the day right now? In my area of Alaska, the highs are hovering right around 30 degrees. Last week, we did have a couple days go up to 40 degrees. In other areas of Alaska, they're getting up into the mid 40s or high 40s, so 47, 48 degrees. But that would be areas like Wasilla, Palmer, and Anchorage that are seeing those warmer temperatures on average that I'm aware of at this moment. And John is saying, Bren Free, Yes, I would say so, but I am biased, lol, to his mother's cooking being the best. And Rob is saying to AK Homegrown Roots, we looked at a place off Oil Well, but took this one instead. I think the only reason I didn't buy the property that I had looked at Oil well, I know the reason that I didn't buy it actually was because there wasn't road access to that exact lot. And you would have to not only cut through someone else's property, um, but then also park your vehicle and then hike in the rest of the way. And that wasn't anything that I was interested in doing. I didn't want a shared drive at all, but it is absolutely beautiful back there. Jimmy Vaughn, how are you doing tonight? Jimmy says, hi from the Lake of the Ozarks. Glad to have you back with us again tonight, Jimmy. AK Homegrown Root says that area has changed a lot since the early 90s. It's not so in the boonies anymore, so to speak. Yep, a lot of areas in Alaska have become like that. And Dogman says, hit the likes, folks. This lady is doing a fine job getting you content. Well, thank you, Dogman. I appreciate that very much. Mike G says, uh, he does this every week. Ding a ding ding, my dang along ling long. I think he just does it to see if I can actually keep up with it. Christina says, hi to Jeff in Cleveland from Findlay, Ohio area. AK Homegrown Root says, fishing though, lol. Yeah, fishing is always the fun stuff. That's what I'm looking forward to. Hello, Jay Watts. How are you doing tonight? He says, hey, lady. I'm so glad you could join us tonight, Jay. Miss seeing you around. And Rob says to AK Homegrown Roots, yeah, places always change with time. We are glad we took this place. We like the remoteness of the area. Yes, that is awesome. That's how I feel about this area too. And hello, Alan. How are you doing tonight? Says hello, beautiful. Stay warm. I am definitely doing that. Even though it's 30 degrees outside, it is nice and warm in the cabin, even though I haven't had a fire lit for the last couple of days. It's really nice in here. And Christina says it would be so exciting to have moose on the property. It's exciting until you walk outside and you weren't expecting the moose to be there. And then in that moment, it's not so exciting anymore. Well, it might be exciting, but in a whole different way. Apologies. I had to stop sitting on my foot. I was putting it to sleep. And AK Homegrown Root says, I'm trying to convince my hubby I want more remoteness now. That's how I feel. Like I do love how remote my cabin is, but there are days where I definitely feel like I should have bought a cabin that wasn't on the road system. Because I think it would just be ideal, actually. And hello, Philip. How are you doing tonight? Says, I finally made it. Well, we're glad you're back in the live stream with us and happy that you joined us while it's still going. And Tracy says hello to everyone for sure. Rob says hello to Philip as well. And Bill Dixon says hello to Rob over at the Curmudgeon Inn. And B himself, how are you doing tonight? Says, my son loves Bigfoot. How's the Bigfoot activity up there? Love what you do. Well, I would say that I'm not aware of any Bigfoot activity. I've not heard a whole lot of chatter about Bigfoot on other channels recently. Here on my property, I have heard some strange noises over the last few weeks. I had mentioned that in one of the videos I did where I did a 360 pan of the front of the property. When I filmed that video, there were some low grumbling noises that were made twice off in the woods behind me. I couldn't tell what they were for sure. Um, it could have just been a moose that was giving birth. But then right before the live stream started, there was a noise outside. I can't mimic the noise, what it sounded like. And I don't actually know. I don't think it was an animal, to be honest with you, that was making the noise, but I don't know what was making the noise. I'll see if I can catch a replay of it on my security cameras. And if it was able to pick it up, then I might play it on a video. But no activities here. I showed also in one of my last videos that I had gotten a, thermal vision, monocular so I could see off into the woods. So if I see something, hopefully I can snap a picture of it with that and put it up on a video for you too, be himself. And hopefully your son would, uh, get a kick out of that. And Philip is saying hello to Rob over there at the Curmudgeon Inn, and Rob is saying to AK Homegrown Roots, do it, meaning go more remote. If you do not have to go to work every day, it's worth it. That is true. Or if you can work remotely. That would be ideal to have remote land, especially if you can still get reliable internet signal. Philip is asking, did you get mineral rights for your land? No, I did not get the mineral rights for my land. Um, I'm sure I could get a claim on my land through the government, but unfortunately, I did not get the mineral rights. And I think that's pretty common in Alaska that the rights don't transfer with ownership in most cases. But I could be wrong. And Christina says, I thought I saw Bigfoot jumping the fence out back. Lol. Oh my goodness. And Diana, how are you doing tonight? Diana says, hi, Alone. Hope you're doing well. I finally figured out how to watch you via the app on my TV. Oh, that's fantastic. Now you get to see me on the big screen in all my washed out whiteness. Uh, And Nomi says, "Oh, there is Rob is putting up Nomi's YouTube channel link. Thank you very much for doing that, Rob. Much appreciated." AK Homegrown Root says, "Husband is still working, so it would add a big commute to him, but trust me, I'm looking. I don't blame you one bit." And Rob is saying hello to Diana, and Diana says, "I'm sending a box to you this week." Well, thank you very much, Diana. I appreciate that very much. Let me know also how all of your home renovations are going and everything. I'm so looking forward to keeping up with that. And hello, Angie and David. How are you doing tonight over there at Rutherford Rumings in Alaska? Be sure to check out their channel as well, folks. Angie and David are saying hello alone, just popping in, missed the start. Well, you missed the first hour, but there are still about another hour to go. Angie and David, I hope that you will stick around. And our Dogman says, she does have great videos. I'm jealous. Well, thank you, Dogman. I appreciate that. I think your videos are great too, because you have quite the personality and you're very fun to watch. And Rob says, hello to Angie and David over there at Rutherford Roamings. Jerry Kirk says, we can't find or we can't fish for salmon here in the Northern California or Canada. Is it Canada or California? Sorry, Jerry. They put a halt due to the numbers for 2 years. Oh, no. That's not good. That's really not good. That happens here too, though. The federal government or the state government will close a hunting, season for one species of animal or fish, periodically, just like they did for commercial fishing for crabs, um, because of the numbers were so low. But it's always sad when that happens. Jay Delaney says, "Have you ever had baked Alaska? I don't understand how they get that whole thing in the oven." Pretty sure they don't, Jay. Pretty sure it's done with a blowtorch, but, that's just my take on it. And Wayne, Gauthier says, "Evening alone, late again, but I'm here." Well, Wayne, I'm glad you're here and able to join us tonight. And hello, Mike. How you doing, my dear friend? Hey, hey, area. Oh, now I got a song stuck in my head. Oh my goodness, I can't sing it or I can get in trouble by everyone because 'cause I'll, hurt your eardrums, but, thanks to nonetheless, Mike, glad you're here. And there is Auntie and David's, channel link over there at Rutherford Roamings in Alaska. Be sure to check them out. They're quite the cute couple, and they always have something going on, which is nice. And Bren says, "What is a sloppy Joe? Not sure, as we don't know in Australia." So a sloppy Joe is a loose meat open face sandwich. It can be served open face or closed, but it's a loose meat sandwich that is generally made with ground hamburger, and it has a tomatoey sauce that accompanies it with peppers and some other things in there. It's kinda got a sweet, tangy, almost like a barbecue, flavor to it, but it's quite tasty. And, Mike is sending me a smiling face and a waving hand right back at you, Mike. And, Dogman says, "I make sloppy domans." I don't know what that is, but, oh, Dogmans. It says Sloppy Joe's, sloppy Dogmans. A little slow on the uptake I am tonight. Sorry, folks. And Groovy Moose says, well, hello, Groovy Moose Cabin in Alaska says, just wondering how the job hunt is going. Anxiously waiting to see what you do with that green paint. Love the color you used in your thing. Well, I've already covered on the job thing, but I will talk about the green paint. The green paint is gonna be coming up in a future video, so be sure to check back for that, and the paprika-ish colored poop that I put in the kitchen. Thank you for the compliment on that. I absolutely love how the kitchen turned out. Absolutely love it. I will just say, in case you weren't here earlier, Groovy Moose, that I still have not landed that perfect job yet, but I'm sure one is somewhere out there just waiting for me to find it. So thank you, though. And Dinah says, I always joke that I don't know how to cook for any less than 30 people. It would be impossible for me to cook for just me. Oh my it is um, a feat to be able to cook for one sometimes, let me tell you. And Gnomestead says to Jay Delaney, egg whites have tiny bubbles, and tiny bubbles are insulating like spray foam. That's how it works. Again, I think I'm missing half the conversation here, folks, so I apologize if that is the case. Rob is saying hello to Groovy Moose, and Craig G, how are you doing tonight? Says, tastes like chicken. Oh, thank you, Dog Man. I really appreciate the super chat. Thank you very much for doing that. It says, I respect you a lot and love your videos. You go, girl. Well, thank you very much, Dogman. That means a lot to me. Very much appreciated. And hello, Terry. How you doing tonight? Terry says, "Good evening, everyone. Was just wondering why you don't have a refrigerator since you have freezers." Well, to be honest with you, when I purchased the freezers, my original intent was not to have them plugged in year round. My original intent was to leave them out um, in the Arctic entry, and then there was some conversation amongst viewers and others that suggested that I don't do that, even though other people in Alaska leave their freezers outside year round. Um, but my intent is to actually move away from the freezers eventually. I really don't wanna have a whole lot of electronics in the cabin, and one of the reasons is because when the electronics fail here, I'm going to have a very difficult time getting those electronic items off of my property and getting them recycled, which is something that I'm talking about also in this week's video. So be sure to tune in for that, and I'll fill you in on all the details of what's going on there. But that is a good question. So thank you, Terry, for asking. And Clint says to Brad, it's basically a seasonal loose meat sandwich or a seasoned loose meat sandwich, and it's delicious. Yes, it is. And Brad says, maybe Alone can show us a cook-up of sloppy joes. I'm sure I could put one together for everybody and show them how they're made from scratch as opposed to Manwich. Manwich is a brand name product that comes in a can that convenience food, if you will. I'm writing this down because sometimes I go off the live and I forget some of the things we talk about. And Brooklyn says, with the pet food shortages, I've been canning up meats for Miley in an emergency. Oh, I didn't realize there was pet food shortages. That's something I need to look at because I need to get food for Kenai. He's got enough to last him for a couple more months, but I will need to resupply. So that's good to know. Thank you, Brooklyn. And good luck with canning up all those meats for Miley, too. Chris says, find a trapper in the area, beaver and moose chili and stews rock. Well, that's good to know. Um, yeah, I would not have thought about that. I'm not sure if you're saying that in combination, but would not have thought about that if that's what you were saying. And Rob is saying, "Is that a Guinness alone?" Yes, it is. I actually, though, did tape over the the label. I'm not much for one of, drinking in public, it was easier than, pouring in a glass tonight. So, but yes, it is. And, Steve is saying to Laura Beth, "Hello." Steve is also in Michigan. And Two Bears, moose meat is curl your toes good. Yes, it is. Hello, Whips Adventures. How you doing tonight? From Talkeetna. Nice of you to join us all here in the chat. And Craig says, "Are you near some real Eskimos?" No. Well, wait. Let me take that back. There are 20 different tribes of Native Alaskans here in Alaska, and in the area where I live, the Otna tribe resides. So in that respect, then yes, I am near, some Alaskan natives, but if you're talking about, like, the Inuit? I'm not sure how you pronounce their name, so I do apologize. But they're, who are living in the igloos and things like that, that you're gonna find those closer, to the northern slope, so Barrow, Prudhoe Bay, places like that, and possibly even in Nome. Um, and Rob is agreeing with Two Bears on the moose meat being absolutely delicious, and Two Bears is saying beaver is good if handled right. I had always heard that it was kinda greasy, so I'm not sure if that's one that I would ever try or not. And Trixie is saying Pam is the gal who's coming to Alaska soon. Oh, whoo, like I said, not very quick on the uptake tonight. And no, I haven't drank a whole lot of this. You can see there's the water line there. Oh my goodness. Sometimes I'm more blonde than I realize. I do apologize, Pam. Uh, hello, Quilter in the Woods. How are you doing tonight? Says, "Hi, I love your vids. I have never had moose meat, but like venison loin and like elk. I like elk as well. Elk is quite tasty. Venison is one of those I think you have to have it either fixed right or you just have it's an acquired taste. But elk is quite delicious. And hello, Peaceful. How are you saying? Fly dope is what they spray the tide flies with while fly fishing. Oh, gotcha, gotcha. So it's a product that is gonna help it stay on top of the water, I'm assuming. I've not used fly dope when fly fishing. What I do is, and I don't have a packet of it sitting here in front of me, I thought I did, is I have a little, vial, like a medicine, prescription vial, and I just pack that full of silica, and then I just, shake my fly in the silica, and that dries it out, and then they just tend to glow or glide right back on top of the water, and then one of the other things I do is I take, um, dish soap and I run it along the line, and that helps the line disappear in the water so that the fish don't easily see it floating on top of the water. Works like a charm. But thank you for informing me what the fly dope is. And, Rob is saying hello to Whip's Adventures. Chris is asking, "What did the syrup addict say to the oak tree when he saw the maple tree during March?" I'm afraid to know, Chris. I am afraid to know. Donna says, "Let us know what recipes you would like, and I will see if I have them." Well, thank you, Donna. I appreciate that very much. And Chris says, "I tap that." That's my, cymbal, sound for everyone who's wondering what that noise was. Dogman says, "If China takes over, just think of how many Chinese buffets will explode in this country." Oh my goodness. Yes, but it won't be $1 a scoop anymore. And Rob says, Rob has put up Whip's Adventures channel link for everybody, so be sure to go check them out. Thank you, Rob, for doing that. And Matt says, "I missed the last 10 minutes. Mom called and she's a chatter." Oh, she must be related to my mom. That's how she is too. But 10 minutes is never the phone call length for us. It's always an hour or two that I'm on the phone with my mom. And Whip says, "Are you," or Rob is asking Whip's Adventure if they are in town right now. Clint says they are finding crawfish in European countries that have never had them before. That's very interesting. Absolutely. I wonder how that occurred. And Diana says gamey usually means meat wasn't properly cooled and preserved before it was butchered. The gamey flavor is code for partially rotten. Ooh. It could also mean the animal was eating bitter fodder. Um, or like if you're eating bear, it could mean that it was eating rotten game meat itself. But thank you for, letting everybody know that, Dinah. That's good to know. But yeah, rotten does not sound tasty. Hello, Granny 74. How you doing? Hello from Willamette Valley of Oregon. I just found your channel on Saturday. I'm up to number 49 and love watching your adventures. Well, thank you very much. I appreciate you binge watching the channel too. I really appreciate that. And Rob is saying, that he is north of town up the tracks. Dogman says, "I paid my homestead off working way below my pay level. I just work and it'll work out." Yep, that's kinda where I'm thinking that my brain might need to just settle on things. It's just take something and quit being so picky. Um, I'm just not there yet. Two Bears is saying to Chris Watson, "I used to tap, 3,150 maple trees. 2 storms took those maples, and dad and I tapped 1,800 up until 2021 when dad got too old to do it anymore." That's a lot of work. Absolutely, but it takes so much syrup or so much, uh, water from the trees to make syrup, so I could see why you were tapping so many. And hello, Bridget Powell from Michigan. How are you doing tonight? Thank you for joining. And Manda Smith, how are you doing tonight as well? Manda says, "I don't know about the others, but Starlink has been very spotty lately. Can't load chat on TV. Please drop link for Mushroom Knowledge channel. Hello, Alone. Hello, and glad you're still smiling so big." Well, thank you very much. So I'm sure Rob will throw Nomi's channel link back up, and when he does, I'll be able to point it out to you, Amanda. And Dogman says, "Put out shorts and your channel will grow fast." This is true. They are definitely into promoting channels that are putting out the shorts. The shorts don't really pay much for anybody who has a paying channel, a channel where you're getting paid from YouTube. I think it's like a couple pennies um, for 1,000 or 10,000 views or something like that. I don't even know what they pay, but they do help promote your channel for sure. And hello, Lynn. How are you doing tonight? Says, "I'm late but happy to see you." Well, thank you. I'm glad you're here, even if you are late. And Manda Smith, there you go. This is Gnomestead's channel link, and he is the one that has all the mushroom knowledge. So be sure to check out Nomi's channel. AK Homegrown Root says, "Used to hike from the road when my kids were little." Yep. Um, that takes guts too, I have to say, because you never know what's lurking just beyond those trees. There could be a moose right there, or there could be a bear, or in my case, there could be a wolverine right around the corner, as Rob even had recently on his property as well. And Quilter in the Woods says, "I'm from North Missouri. It was cold here today, not sure of the degrees, but chilly." Well, join the club. That's how it was here today, too. And Steve to Bridget is saying, "Hi, there are a few Michiganders in here tonight." And I'm glad to have each and every one of you here. Rob is saying hello to Quilter in the Woods, and Quilter in the Woods is saying hello back. Dennis or Denise Perkins. Hello, how are you doing tonight, Denise? Says, "Hi, Alone. Just found your channel last night and I'm loving it. Spring has sprung here in Kentucky." Well, awesome that spring is in full swing there. I thought I was going to get spring here last week and now it's snowing again. But nonetheless, I'm glad to have you following along on my journey and glad to have you here in the chat with us tonight. And Rob is saying hello and welcome to you as well, Denise. And Wayne says, "Headed to a crawfish boil on Saturday here in Northwest Florida." Well, have one for me. We'll actually have quite a few of the crawfish for me. And I'll be thinking about you while you're off enjoying the crawfish because I'm jealous. And Steve's Woodworking says, "Hello to Jay Watts. Hi there. Do I know you?" is what Steve is asking of Jay Watts. And hello, Dave. How are you doing tonight? Says, "Alone, have you ever talked about the adjustment to the light cycles?" I did in an episode where I was talking about dreams. I think I talked about it there, but I can talk about it more. Um, because right now, with the way the sun's coming up and what have you, it definitely does affect um, your sleep rhythms and all sorts of different things. So, Dave, yes, I can definitely make a video about that. That is one that would be very timely right now. I wrote down your name as opposed to the light cycles. I'll be looking at that going, "Why am I supposed to be talking about Dave?" And there is the link to Rob's channel link over there at the Curmudgeon Inn. Be sure to check him out and all his going ons. Matt says, "I want something remote, but I'd also like road access. It's a struggle of wants." Yep, that is exactly, I think, the conundrum that we all wind up in when we're looking to move to a remote area in Alaska. Excuse me. John says, "Sorry to have to go. Got company. Bye, y'all." Well, thanks for being here tonight with us, John. Appreciate it and appreciate you sticking around as long as you were able to. And I did reply to your email, by the way, too, John, just so you're aware. And Dogman says, "I've been Bigfoot since 1972. It's been me all along, folks." Well, at least we know Bigfoot has a name now, so we'll just start calling him Dogman. And Steve is saying bye to John, and so is Matt. Hello, Ona Muir. How are you doing? Says jumped in, finally live. Hello, Alone. I'm so glad you made it here, Ona. Nice to have you join us. And hello, my friend Carrie Ann. How are you doing tonight? Great to see you here. I also just replied to your email earlier before jumping on the live stream. So be sure to check that out, and I'll be back in touch with you in the next day or so as well. And Ashley says good night to John. Rob is saying to Matt, understand that if you do not have to work, then go remote. I agree. Get out and away from the cities and the crowds and the traffic and the noise. That is the dream, I think, for a lot of us. Amanda says, thanks, subscribed. Curmudgeon in. Awesome, awesome. Thank you for doing that, Amanda. I'm sure Gnomestead appreciates it. And Gnomestead, or I'm sorry, Rob is also saying bye to John in Alaska, as well as Clint is. And Rob is saying, thank you, Dogman, for the super chat. Much appreciated. Matt is saying to Rob over at the Curmudgeon Inn, yeah, that's the problem. Still have 25 years of work left in me. It can be done remotely, though. Just need internet. Starlink will solve that with more sats. Yes, I know exactly where you're coming from. I'm not quite done working yet either, and internet was a must for me. Dogman says, "Thank you, curmudgeon." She deserves help. Well, thank you very much, Dogman. And Rob is saying to Matt, I'm getting it next week. I will let you know how it goes. He's talking about Starlink. And also, Dennis has Starlink here for everybody. And he had reported earlier that they were having 20 to 25-minute blackout periods, headlights. That seems to have resolved that here in Alaska, for at least him, anyhow. And Rob is saying to Dogman, speaking about me here, that she does. Sorry for your pup. We heard about what happened, my friend. Heart goes out to you. Yes. So Dogman did recently lose one of his pups due to an unfortunate situation. So do be sure to check out his channel and be um, compassionate with the situation that he recently went through. So it's very sad. And Mike C says, hello, Alone. Hello, Mike. How are you doing tonight? Glad you're here with us. Dogman says, yeah, thank you. When you love dogs, it happens. This is true, unfortunately. Uh, they don't they don't always, they're not always there with us forever and ever, which is the sad part of life, I think. Because at least I love Kenai very, very much. And I know at some point he won't be with me either. And that's a sad, sad thing to think about. Hello, Diana. How you doing? Or Diane, sorry about that. Diane Shaw, how are you doing? Says, good day. I grew up in Alaska from 1970 to 1990. Family still there. I love watching your journey and learning new things from you. Once you're an Alaskan, you're always one. Well, thank you. I appreciate that. And I appreciate you following along on my journey as well. Um, and Mike says, Bigfoot is standing right behind you, making funny faces behind your back. Is that what this is? Up here. Oh, you guys can't see my mouse. Sorry, but I'm pointing up to my icon up in the corner there. Dogman says, "This is true, uh, but it's never easy." Or I'm sorry, Rob says this to Dogman. This is true, but it's never easy. I was a med dog trainer for years. Every now and then I hear of one of my babies has passed and I tear up. Yep. It'd be very, very sad to hear that. Dogman says, "I raise the troubled dogs nobody wants," which is true. Sometimes they are beyond help like humans are. Yep, sometimes they just cannot be rehabilitated, and sometimes they definitely cannot be rehomed either, which is an unfortunate thing. Iris says, listening to you speak about all of your delicious food and recipes, I had to prepare my mom and I a second dinner. Oh my goodness, I'm gonna make everybody start gaining weight with my live streams. Rob is saying too, Dogman, um, still never easy, even if a problem pup. And Dogman says, amen to that. And Mike is explaining what ARIA is. It is Alone in Remote Alaska. It is the anagram for my channel name. Thank you for explaining that, Rob or Mike. I appreciate that. And Rob is saying, thumbs up, folks. Show this amazing gal some love. Thank you very much for doing that, Rob. Chris is saying old fridges and freezers make good smokers. I would think so. They also can make a great root cellar in a makeshift situation, or even a worm farm or a um, compost bin. Lots of uses for them for sure. Just got to get that antifreeze out of them or whatever the coolant is that they have in them these days. And Dogman says, later, folks, I got to go answer subscriber comments for my latest video. Hit the like button for this girl and make all of your dreams come true. Well, thank you. Thank you very much, Dogman. And thank you again for the super chat. I really do appreciate it. And Rob is saying good night to you as well. Jay Delaney says, Juno, your streams get better and better every week. Well, thank you. Do you know I appreciate that too. Diana says, "Hi to Rob. Alone, I sent finished kitchen and living room photos to your email. Thank you. It's fab. Now we move upstairs to paint, repair door frames. Thanks, um, Alsan the Bob Coon, and get ready for the carpet. Oh my goodness, I'll send the Bob Coon. I'm gonna have to read up on that story for sure. But it sounds like you're making great progress at your house, Diana. I'm so happy for you. I know you're looking forward to getting it all finished so you can get it up on the market. And Matt says, I've yet to find a beer that I actually like. Blel Belch. Ble I'm not sure. I'm sure you meant Belch, but I could be wrong. I'm not much for drinking a traditional beer, that's for sure. There's a few out there that they're okay, but a stout, I do like a good stout, and Guinness is by far my favorite. And uh, Rob is saying, when did you send? He's either asking about the package or the pictures. And Rob is saying, Elk, I need to hit up Matsu Valley Meats again. I need to go there. I've not been there before. And Diana is saying, sent it last week, I think. And Gnomestead says, watching Alone answer chats when she is 15 minutes behind getting answers for the questions she asked 20 minutes ago is awesome. Trying to remember what was said 20 minutes ago is a task, let me tell you. Midnight Madness, how are you doing tonight? Alaska has 3 million lakes. That's an insane number of lakes for sure. I would love to be able to hit every single one of them too, but I know that'll never happen. Some don't have fish and some are just too remote to make it to, at least for this girl. And Susan says, well, off to bed. Great conversations. Thanks and have a good night, everyone. Well, thanks for being with us tonight, Susan. I'm glad that you were able to stick around as long as you were able to. Diana says, we have moose, elk, deer, bear, and mountain lion meat in our freezer, as well as goose, rabbit, pheasant, and all the available fish in Colorado. I have great recipes for all of them. Well, Diana, you and I are going to have to talk sometime about some of those recipes. And Nomi is saying good night to Susan. Diana is saying yes to Nomestead. It's hilarious. Um, Nomestead's channel link again for everybody. Thank you again, Rob, for doing that. Hello, Adam and Phyllis over there at Alaska Cut the Cord. How are you doing? They're saying gamey flavor can also come from high testosterone levels, which is what I was thinking, or from um, the adrenaline glands from being stressed as it's passing. This is common in male animals. They're saying about the testosterone that go into rut during mating season. Very common with caribou and moose. That's good to know. Very good to know. Amy, hello. And Amy says, I had no idea that you could eat mountain lion. Yeah, I wouldn't have thought it either, but I have had it offered to me in the past in Colorado. It's pretty common for people to do so. And Rob is saying jealous to Diana about her cachet of meat, or cache, I should say, of meat. And Midnight Madness is saying Alaska is bigger than the next two largest states combined. Yes, it makes up basically a third of the total land mass that the contiguous United States makes up all in of itself. If you were to lay the map of Alaska over that, it would take up basically a third of the rest of the United States. And Nomstead is saying to Amy that mountain lion is so good, which is good to know. I've not actually eaten it myself, even though I had it offered to me. But it is good to know that it is a tasty one. And Alaska Cut the Cord is also agreeing that mountain lion is good and really high in protein. Good to know. And Rob is saying hello to Alaska Cut the Cord. And Amy's asking, what does a mountain lion taste like? And thank you, Mike, for the $25 super chat. I appreciate that. Says we didn't do so well on our picks this weekend. Darn it. Well, at least you got a little something, it looks like. Maybe so, if you're sharing the proceeds here. But I do appreciate the super chat, regardless of whether it came from your winnings or not. It means a lot to me. So thank you, Mike. As always, very much appreciated. And Rob is also saying thank you on my behalf, Mike. And Nomstead says, we cut Alaska in half and make Texas the third largest state. And Nomstead is saying to Amy that the bobcat tastes like very lean pork. Very good to know. And Matt is saying to the Nomstead, my cousins in Texas just love it when I tell them that about the size of Alaska and compared to Texas. And Adam and Phyllis over at Alaska Cut the Cord is saying hello to Rob over at the Curmudgeon Inn. And Ashley is saying hello to Cut the Cord, who is also saying back. Hello back to Ashley. Diana says, I've started making my own medicinal concoctions with herbs and such. We also ate curly dock with dinner last night, all out of the Forager's Guide to Wild Foods and the Lost Book of Herbal Remedies. I have the Lost Book of Herbal Remedies, and I absolutely love that book. And I think that's awesome that you are starting to make your own medicinal concoctions with herbs and such. That is phenomenal. And I think having some of that knowledge in everybody's back pocket is a great thing to have in the times when the internet may not be available, but you need some assistance and maybe can't get it elsewhere. And there is Alaska Cut the Cords channel link for everybody. Be sure to check them out. They are a very fun couple to watch, and they're always up to something. And Clint is saying to Nomi, size doesn't matter. Spoken like a true Texan. Just kidding. Amy says, no kidding. Not got any of those in North Maine woods, bobcat and lynx, but no big kitties. Thanks, Nomi. And Nomi is saying to Matt, I enjoy picking on Texans, maybe a bit too much. They cry too easy. Oh my goodness. And uh, Rob is saying to Diana that that is a very good book. Mike is saying, take a drink of water, Aria. No choking tonight or no coughing fits. Oh my goodness. That one night I had that worst coughing fit, had to keep muting the channel. Well, that wasn't good. So apologies and cheers, everyone. And Diana is saying that they are both great books. And Amy says, all my exes live in Texas. Sorry, couldn't resist. That is a good song nonetheless. And Diana says, I know alone has at least one of those 2 books. Yep. I have the Lost Book of Home Remedies for sure. And AK Homegrown Roots is laughing at Amy's comment about all my exes live in Texas. Clint said that like an Austin Texan. And there is Steve's Woodworking and Homestead channel link for everybody. So be sure to check out Steve's channel and his live streams that he has occasionally on Saturdays as well. And Clint says to Nomstead, I am away from Austin, thankfully. Diana is saying to Amy that the mountain lion tastes like chicken. And Denise says, if I send a package, does UPS hold at PO Box or do you have to go to town in a certain amount of time? Better to wait until nicer weather. They will hold it for up to 2 weeks, and then they'll send it back to sender. So I did open up the PO Box on the 1st of April, and I'm making it a point to go every 2 weeks. Or attempting to. I was planning to go today, but unfortunately, the snowstorm, I kind of decided I'll wait because I didn't want to be trudging through all of that. But if you send it, I'll be there within the 2 week time frame, 2 weeks at the max. So it won't get sent back to you. And then the PO box again will close sometime around October 1st or so. But I do appreciate that for sure. It's always nice to receive some things in the mail and all the thoughtful gifts that everyone has been sending. I really appreciate. And Two Bears says, "I'm falling asleep, so good night. My sawmill wore me out today." Well, I hope it was a sawmill and not that I'm boring, but I have a tendency, to lull myself to sleep when I'm editing because my voice is so monotone, I think, more than anything. But good night, Two Bears. Have a good night, and I have a couple emails from you that I need to get to, so I will get to those as well. And Wayne says, "Off to bed, wishing you and Kina a blessed evening." Well, good night, Wayne, and I hope you sleep well. Thanks for being here tonight. Noam says, "Clint, I bust your chops out of pure unconditional love, brother," as Nomi is full of love for everybody. And Brooklyn says, "I can't wait to leave this city." Brooklyn, I hope you get that opportunity sooner rather than later. I know you're anxious to get on with it for sure. And Ira says, "I was thinking how lucky we are to have internet Wi-Fi when living in rural areas. It makes remote areas feel less remote." This is true. When people ask if I get lonely, I always say no because I'm here, once a week conversing with everybody on the live chats and in all the comments, of course. So I think having the internet is working in my favor nonetheless. And Hey Meadow says, a sewing fabrics question. Of course, these are things I notice. I assume you prefer natural fibers. Correct. I do for sure. But how light of a fabric can you go? A light cotton lawn, a midweight cottons, and linens. So I do have some fabrics that are cotton lawn, and some of my tops are made in a light cotton lawn. Um, but yeah, I can go pretty light here because when it gets to be 50 degrees outside here at my property or warmer, it's extremely warm. And that's 50 degrees Celsius. So yeah, I can go as light as a light cotton lawn or even some midweight cottons or linens as well. But then also in the summertime, and I know a lot of people probably think this is reverse logic that I'm using here, and maybe it is, but wool, even some wools that I have, even some of my heavyweight wools, I will wear in the summertime because they actually do a great job of keeping the heat out. And in the wintertime, I'll wear silks because they'll keep the heat in. But yes, natural fibers are definitely preferred, um, at least for me here, and wool, especially for the climate in the winter months as well. But thank you. That's a great question, Haley. And Amy says to Diana, I was waiting for that one, lol. Clint is also laughing. And Gnomestead says, we could all go out for a beer and come back in half an hour and she would be caught up and never knew we left. This is probably true. You could all be off in your kitchens making your dinners and I wouldn't know. I'd be just sitting here talking to myself, except for when the comments dried up. And Rob is saying to Nomi, you did leave. I tried to tag you and no Nomi. Yeah, keep him in line, Rob. And Mike is laughing at that as well. Amy says, I agree with you, Ira. Thank goodness for internet to be able to connect with people living in remote areas and remote and rural areas. And Gnomestead says, my bad, can't burn. Din din. Yeah, that would not be good. Gnomestead says, I listen to Alone, read them all, so I'm 20 minutes behind too. And Bren says, I'm back. See, there's someone else who left the chat for a while. I'm back. I went to water some plants. Well, that's one good thing about doing this for at least 2 hours is that everybody has a chance to pop in and out as they're available. And AK Homegrown Root says, are you planning a halibut trip this season? It's my favorite time of year. Love the ocean and Seward too. I am planning to go out on a fishing vessel. I am not sure if it will be for halibut or what we will be fishing for, but I am planning to at least get out on the ocean at least once this summer. Even though I'm not a huge fan of being on the water or in boats. Sorry, I'll put the pin down. I'm clicking away there. I am still planning a trip nonetheless. When I went out on the glacier cruise last year, I went out with my friend that was visiting me, and I don't think she was a fan of being on the water, but I did much better than she did. I wasn't too worried about it, but I was when I took my original fishing trip up here decades ago. I was scared to death on that boat, but I think I've since gotten over it a little bit. But yes, to answer your question, sorry, long-winded tonight is what I am. And Long Tall Texan says, we had an unseasonable cold weekend here in East Texas. I took advantage of it and put the roosters in freezer camp. Now it's time to get to the lake and set out the trot lines for the catfish. Oh, I hope you get lots of catfish, and I hope that they have some nice sweet flavor to them. Jay Delaney says, Guinness is your favorite? Okay, we're getting married. I thought we were already getting married. At least the proposal was there. Oh my goodness. Uh, and Brenna's laughing at that. And Debbie Ledbetter, how are you doing tonight? Debbie says, checking in from Kentucky. The Northern Lights were visible in southern Kentucky last night. Unusual. Wow, they must have really made an appearance for most of the nation and Canada, because they were pretty phenomenal here last night too. And as I mentioned earlier in the live feed, that even my children in Colorado had sent me pictures of them there. So that's pretty crazy. Jay Delaney is saying to Brun, I'll have her on Jameson a few weeks later. Don't worry. Not that I drink much in hard liquor, but if I was going to drink some whiskey, it'd be Jameson. And Midnight Madness is saying that Alaska was once sold for $7.2 million. I think, uh, and then bought for 72 million, the US from Russia. And Auntie, how are you doing tonight? Auntie says, I just read it tastes like pork. Super cool if that's the case. Talking again about the mountain lion. And Midnight Madness saying, are you a true blonde? No, I just act like one. I am not a true blonde. I wish I was, though. It would be a lot easier than coloring my hair every so often. And Donna says, I love sourdough on lamb's quarter and lamb's quarter. I'm sure she's saying. And lamb's quarter is a plant for anybody who is not aware of that. It's a weed that most people, or a plant that most people think is a weed in their yards. And Bren is saying Jameson Black Barrel, I hope, of course. And Diana says, I wish I could share a photo on here. Aslan is a Maine Coon cat I named after the character in C.S. Lewis's book. Aslan is not a tame lion. Oh my goodness. I would like to have a Maine Coon cat, to be honest with you. If I was going to get a cat, I would like a Maine Coon cat. Because of their temperament and the fact that they're more doggish in their behavior. And also, I think that's awesome that you named him after the lion in C.S. Lewis's books, Through the Wardrobe, and I forget what the Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, and I forget what the other book is titled. And Midnight Madness says, you're a beautiful person inside now. Well, thank you very much. I appreciate that very much. Steve's Woodworking says, Midnight Madness, why don't you ask her age too? I'm surprised JR isn't on here tonight. He could probably chime in on that one. He's been trying to guess my age for a while. And Bren says, to the hay meadow, I say Alone likes floral, heavier fabrics, and a yesteryear style and bright colors, maybe. So I do like historic colors for sure. And when it comes to floral fabrics, I prefer things that have a random pattern to them, not necessarily a sequential pattern that I don't really care for. But I do prefer some petite florals and some chintz style fabrics. So thank you, Bren, for noticing. I appreciate that. And Gnomestead says, y'all go the way, name, age, and serial number. Oh my goodness. Uh, Rob says, they only hold for 2 weeks. Ours will hold for a month or so. Yep, they will only hold it for 2 weeks, 14 days, because it's a very tiny, tiny office, and they just don't have the shelf space there. So the postmaster, when he comes down to check out the post office, he will make them send back anything that's been held for longer than 2 weeks, unfortunately. And Tyne, how are you doing tonight? Tyne says, dropping in for a quick hi. I'm sorry I can't stay. See you next time, everyone. We'll keep well alone. We'll keep well as well, Tyne. I'm so glad that you at least popped in for just a brief moment, if nothing else. Clint says, might as well ask her for a credit card number and banking information too, Social Security and all that, I'm sure as well, right, Clint? Oh my goodness. And Rob is saying hi and bye to Tyne as well. And Wendy, how are you doing tonight? Wendy says, I would be so afraid of the grizzlies. I would be afraid if I actually encountered one. But so far, the grizzlies that have come through my property over the last, couple of years that I've been here, just less than two, they have just walked on through and not done any trouble. So luckily, it's been that way, and I'm hoping it stays that way. Oh, and Steve's also saying, "Why don't you ask me for my weight?" And Mike is saying, "Atta girl, sipping on a coldie." Yep, I listen to you, Mike. I know sometimes you wonder, but I do listen. Linda says, "Did you get the stuff I sent to you?" Not yet because I have not been back to the post office. But I was going to go today, but the snow I decided not to trudge out in it. So I will be heading up there tomorrow and I should pick it up then. I'll let you know as soon as I get it though, Linda, for sure. And of course, I'll post it in this week's video as well for everybody to see. So Beth says, I sent you a care package last week. It should be in Copper Center now. Well, thank you, Beth. I appreciate that. And I also appreciate what Linda sent and Carrie Ann and anybody else. I do appreciate all of that. So I will let everybody know once I've received the packages. And Gnomesis says it's way easier now to learn. Us old timers had to learn from magazines and books. I still actually prefer the magazines and the books, but yes, I agree that it's quite easy to learn a multitude of things thanks to the internet these days. And Clint says, surely you meant Fahrenheit. I did mean Fahrenheit. Did I say Celsius? I probably did say Celsius, but yes, I meant Fahrenheit. Oh my goodness. And Rob is saying wool is fine in summer depending on what it is. My kilt is wool and I wear it in the summer. Yep. And Nomi, you can't beat or you can't be that old. I'd say 60. He might not even be 60. He might be younger than you think. It's the computer, the camera, it adds years, I'm telling you. And Rob is reminding everyone to give thumbs up. Thanks to Rob, or thank you, Rob. I appreciate that very much. And there is Bill over at Alaska's Last Frontier Homestead saying hello and sorry that he's late. No worries, Bill. I'm just glad you're here. And Gnome says, when is the alone curmudgeon Nomi fishing trip is a better question. Yet to be planned, I'm sure. Yet to be planned for sure. And Steve is saying hi to Bill, and so is Nomi, Rob, and Brun. And Bill is saying hi to Steve's Woodworking, and thanks for joining on the live stream that he had on Saturday night. And Matt says hi to Bill as well. So does Ashley. And Bill is saying hi to Brun. And Steve is saying sorry that he couldn't stay that long because he had his own live stream to get to. And there is Bill's channel link. Thank you, Rob, for doing that at Alaska's Last Frontier Homestead. And Matt says, ooh, I have some Jameson right over there. I should have some. Yes. Have a drink on me. And again, cheers to everybody. And Ann Mack, how are you doing tonight from Murray, Kentucky? Has it warmed up where you're at? Not yet. Still at 30 degrees today. It never got above that, and it's been snowing outside. Diana says, yes, or yum, Jameson, my favorite. I got to type the distillery in Dublin a few years ago. Got to type. I'm sure you meant tour the distillery. That would be a lot of fun. And Jay Delaney says, I have your chat drinking tonight. That's funny. Usually we got everybody dreaming about food. Now we got everybody pouring a drink. Donna says, sourdough is a plant that grows wild in clumps. That is good to know as well. And for Nomi, it's bourbon, 4 fingers, and 1 cube. Amy says, might I suggest a tipple of proper number 12 Conor McGregor, delicious whiskey, smooth as all get out. Cheers. That sounds good too, actually. And Midnight Madness is asking what my favorite movie is. Oh my goodness. I will have to get back to you on that one. because right now my brain just went blank on movies. But I will tell you what genre of movies I like best. I like action flicks and I like drama. I like uh dark, melancholy murder mystery type dramas, and I like action movies. I don't really care for a whole lot of comedies, and I don't really care for chick flicks, romance novels, romance movies, whatever they're called. Don't really care for those. But you give me a good action-packed movie, and yeah, I'm all about it. And Bill is saying, "My post office held my mail for a month, but I had notified them that I would be out of the state for that time." So, I was able to get the post office to hold my mail last year when I was snowed in, um, and they would only hold it for a month, and then excuse me, and then at the end of that month, they told me I had to go into the post office to pick it up, that they would not deliver it after that month. And I get that because there might be quite a large amount of mail that's needing to be delivered, and a lot of people don't have huge post off or post mailboxes. Sorry. Um, so yeah, that was an issue that I had last year as well. And Haley is saying, absolutely to Brun. I've noticed that, and we are similar in that way. I'm more of a bright and bold pattern, though. I love alone style and fearlessness in being her true self, no matter what. Well, thank you, Haley. I appreciate that. And I appreciate the same about you. I love watching your channel and everything that you're making and all of, and I'm gonna miss it. It's the pink boxes that you're getting, the sewing kits. I think all of that is fantastic. So I'm so glad that you share all of that. And hello, David. How are you doing tonight? And David says, me too, social butterfly. Glad you can make it here. And Noam says, saying, Bill, yes, sir, they will if you put a hold on it. Brent says, serious question. How come I don't see much paving on paths around your homes in Alaska? Because when snow melts, there's mud all around. Would paving a path be better with brick pavers? Um, I don't know why other people haven't done it, but I would think it's because of the frost and the heave. So when things freeze over here, it causes the ground to heave, and then that would crack any pavement or set the bricks off kilter from each other, and then that would be a tripping hazard. So I think that might be part of the reason why you don't see a whole lot of that here. And hello, LJ, how you doing? Says, I'm new and loving your channel. Big hugs. Well, thank you. I appreciate that. And big hugs back to you. And thanks for being here on the live chat tonight. And Bren says to the Hey Meadow channel, it says, I like heavier fabrics in texture. And today my daughter gave me a denim apron with leather straps, and I love it because I'm the best mom. That's fantastic. I actually need to sew myself up some aprons. I was thinking that when I was making the crab Louis, because one of the things that you didn't see in that video was when I was whisking the whipping cream, there were little bits of whipping cream going everywhere. And I was like, oh, I really need an apron. And Rob is asking or saying the Chronicles of Narnia. Thank you. Oh my goodness. I could not believe that I messed that up. Is a series of 3 books, The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. Prince Caspian and The Dawn Trader actually has 7 books total in the series. Awesome. Thank you for clarifying that, Rob. I knew that there were a couple books. I didn't realize that there were 3 or actually even 7 in the series. And Bill is saying to Rob, you need to get together with Sean in Alaska for a kilt party. Midnight Madness says, you would be great play-by-play sports announcer. Probably. Maybe that's the job I should be looking for. Uh, Beth says, age 29 plus shipping and handling. Well, like I used to say, I'm 18. I have been for quite some time now. And Rob says to Bill over at Alaska's Last Frontier Homestead, if I get down his way, we will. Already talked to Sean about having a kilt party. That's hilarious. Gnomestead says, I earned this girlish figure and mind-blowing good looks the hard way. Boy, did I have fun. I always say I'm watching my figure, watching it get out to where I can actually see it. And Rob is saying, already had my martini. I hope it was good. Sounds good. And Bill is saying that we should invite that he should invite Sean up, or that Rob should invite Sean up to his place. And Rob says the new Avatar movie is good. I will have to check that one out. I saw the original Avatar, but I haven't seen anything about the new one. In fact, I think the last movie that I saw in the theater was Hoffa. And Dennis says, or Denise, well, I keep wanting to call you Dennis. I do apologize because I can clearly see it says Denise. Denise says, I live at the foot of the Bourbon Trail, 2 miles from Jim Beam. But funny enough, I'm also an exclusive Irish beer drinker, only Smithwick's for me. Oh, I've not had Smithwick's, but I would love to try some. And there is Ed. Hello, Ed. How are you doing there? Ed from Mountain Mariner saying hello to everybody tonight. Glad you're with us tonight, Ed. And Rob is saying hello. So is Matt. And there is Ed's channel link for everybody. Glad you could make it on before I close out the live stream, which I will be doing in about 25 minutes. So we got about another half hour here tonight. And then Ed was saying hi to Rob, and Bill is saying hi to Ed, and Ashley is as well. Clint says, if laziness was an Olympic sport, I'd come in fourth, so I didn't have to walk up to the podium. Oh my goodness. And hello, Renice. How are you doing tonight? Is there any food you crave that you can't get in Alaska? Well, it would have to be food that I can't get or that I can't make. And so far, I'm not thinking of anything that I can't get. But someone did ask me at one point if there was something that I can't get in Alaska. And there is actually something that I need. Um, and I'm just going to say it here on the live stream, and I'll probably get 100 of them, but because everybody will be like, oh, I got some of that. But Scott's Liquid Gold, the furniture polish. I don't want Pledge or Old English or anything like that. I'm just looking for Scott's Liquid Gold. I cannot find that anywhere in the state of Alaska. So if someone could smuggle me in some Scott's Liquid Gold, I would be so thrilled to have some. I need to polish some of my furniture, and that's what I like to use. And I did not bring any with me. And I didn't get a chance to think to ask my son to bring some up when he came up last year. So that is the one thing that I want. But I'll get back to you on foods that I crave that I can't get in Alaska. Because yeah, I've been eating pretty well, needless to say. Ed says, everything is good here on the water. Cold and windy, some light snow in April. Yep, same here at the cabin, Ed. Light snow. Well, it wasn't light earlier. It was really coming down earlier. But um, I'm glad that things are good for you nonetheless. And Brooklyn says, Clint, that is lazy. And Noam says, soon as the ground frost melts, it dries right up. Pallets make great boardwalks for the 3 weeks of mud season. Yep. And Diana is saying to Amy, love the Conor McGregor swagger. And Hey Meadow says, I love that. To Bren Free, I love texture too. My home soft furnishings, particularly fur, leather, silk, wool, basketry. Love, love, love texture in fabrics. Yep. And Clint is giggling. And Linda says, oh, now I'm going to confess that I'm stuck in Sailor Moon land. Anime suits my limit of falling asleep. We all have our little hangups, Linda, all of us. That's cute though. I actually like that. Midnight Madness says next home project. Next home project is I'm still working on the kitchen. So there are a couple more things that are going to be happening in the kitchen. And then after that, um, it's going to be the garden. And then I'm not sure. It might be the storage that I'll be building in up in the loft areas, because that is absolutely needed. I need things to have a home. I'm tired of tripping over stuff. And Rob is saying, sorry, I'm a fantasy book nerd, been a heavy reader for years. Yeah, I am not a reader like for novels and things, I just can't get into them. I have the same thing with a lot of TV programs. When I was back in Colorado, a friend of mine was always trying to say, "You need to watch this, and you need to watch this, and whatever." And I just had a hard time getting into them. It was like I couldn't even make it through the first episode before I was just bored and off doing something else. Um, and sometimes it's that way even with a movie. Unless I'm like doing something to keep my mind occupied. Um, I sometimes have a hard time getting into movies, but books I definitely can't get into unless it's a reference manual, in which case I'm usually looking for something in particular, but that's funny. Blessedly Frugal says, just curious, does Kensington, his name is actually Kenai, who is right there, go with you everywhere? But I'm not offended at all that you called him Kensington. I actually think it's rather cute. And I might just add that to his name because he has about 1 million of them. Go with you everywhere, even to your appointments, since everything is so far away. For the most part, yes. There have been a couple of times where I have had to leave Kenai at home, but for the most part, yeah, he goes with me everywhere I go. And he absolutely loves his car rides, that's for sure. And Gnome says, another thing, I look amazing for 350-year-old Nomi. Insert dancing gnome gif here. That's hilarious. And hello, Fem. How are you doing? Fem Mystique says, just came across your channel. Where's your beautiful pup? He is right there. I don't know if you guys can see him. See if I can point the camera down a little bit. There he is, sleeping on the floor. He is sucked out. And thank you for joining the live stream tonight too, Fem. And Brooklyn says that she is laughing. You definitely get some strange questions on YouTube. This is true for sure. And Ashley is saying to know me that Ashley also feels like 350 sometimes. Uh, Rob is saying, okay, Ed at Mountain Mariner, you owe her 2 weeks of jokes now. Yeah, people have been filling in for you. We've had substitute joke tellers for sure. And hello, Steve from New York. How are you doing tonight? Thanks for being here. Blessedly says, does Kenai go with you everywhere since everything is so far? Yes. And Amy says to Diana, too true. McGregor is as smooth as his whiskey. Lol. Yeah, for those of you who are not into sports or boxing, I should say, I think he's a boxer. I haven't had TV in quite some time. I've only seen snippets of him, but I believe that he is a boxer, and he is a bit brash in the way he talks, as most boxers are. But yeah. And I feel bad that I don't know if he's a boxer or not, because actually, as hard as this might be for people to believe, boxing is actually my favorite sport. I grew up watching boxing with my grandfather, and I have not watched it in a number of years, but I do actually like boxing. And to be quite honest, I do prefer to watch bare knuckle boxing. I know most people probably would not know that about me, and I don't like violence so much, but I did grow up watching it, so it's kind of ingrained in me. So, little fun fact about Alone that most people probably don't know. And hi, Seashell. How are you doing tonight? Seashell says, hello, Alone, and everyone. Hope you're having a great evening. Did you get to see the Northern Lights last night? I did. I didn't get them filmed because they were so high above the cabin, and I was sitting up on the doorway of the bedroom up here in the loft, and they were almost directly above my head. So a little hard to film, but Nomi put out a great video, and so did John in Alaska. So be sure to check out their channels if you would like to see the Northern Lights here in Alaska from last night. And Rob says, liquid gold is amazing. I used it in my customers' boats all the time. They loved the outcome. It is so fantastic. And so, like I said, if I could get some, that would be amazing. And Renee says, we're finally getting rain in Kansas. Oh, well, that's good. Hopefully it will green everything up for you guys nicely there. It's been rain and snow mix here for the last few days. Today it's been mostly snow, wet, heavy snow. Midnight Madness says, have you seen One Woman's Wilderness? YouTube videos yet. She lives alone in Canada. I have seen Lizette's channel, One Woman's Wilderness, and she has a beautiful cabin. And she is quite the personality. Um, yeah, she's a hoot for sure. And Brooklyn says, honestly, I'd be more worried about trespassing humans than animals personally. Yes, trespassing humans is a thing that I do worry about, but I have security cameras everywhere. I'm always, always armed. I mean, always. There is firearms right in front of me here. And also, I have Kenai, who is not afraid to attack when he feels threatened or feels that I'm being threatened. So I'm not so worried about the two-legged predators as they should be worried about me. And Gnome says to Ashley, we earned it. Best solution is for you to move to Alaska and do some sauna time. Yep. And Diana is saying to Denise that Smithwick's and O'Hara's are my two favorite beers. Nice. Ashley says, sound good. Sounds good to me, Nomi. And Bill is saying, don't forget to hit that like button, everybody. There's 119 in this live and only 100 and only 171 thumbs up. I think there's more thumbs up than there are people. But either way, I'm good with that, and I appreciate you reminding people to hit the like button. Oh my goodness. Amy says Amanda off grid is good to watch. Oh yes, I do love Amanda. She is fantastic. And if you're not familiar with Amanda off grid, I actually have a meet the YouTuber that I did with her uh, on one of my videos. So if you go in and you check out my collaboration playlist, you will see not only Amanda off grid, but you will also see Alaska's Last Frontier Homestead, and you will also see Gnomestead and Bill Dixon at the Pungo Prairie and Cut the Cord. And I will be doing a few more coming up here in the near future as well. So, but Amanda Off Grid she is just an adorable person, and she has some beautiful area that she lives in there in Canada. And Renice is agreeing, saying that she loves her channel too. And Rob is saying, Tennent's Lager is good, but being a traditional beer from the UK, it's best served warm. Yeah, so my Guinness is I wouldn't say it's room temperature because my cabin's never that warm, but I rarely put it in the cooler or on ice. So it's slightly chilled, but mainly it's probably warm compared to what most people would drink, a stout or a beer at. And Amy says, uh, Amanda and Buttercup's Adventures. Yes, yes. And Mountain Mariner says, "Do you know they call an iditer or do you know what they call an irrational fear of palindromes?" Ed does this to me every time. He puts out words that I sit there and struggle with, and I'm looking at this going, "Ab abophobia? Aphobia. Ah, adophobia. Lol, evil. You are evil. That's evil." Last time Ed was on, he made a joke about hippopotamuses, and he just kept saying "opotamus," and I kept thinking "opossum," and I could not get the possum out of my head and could not recognize that he was talking about hippopotamuses, and it was rather hip of him to make that joke, actually, if you ask me. It was only after the live stream ended that I finally got it. I was like, "Oh my goodness, am I dense?" So Matt is saying to Rob, shameless plug, but my brother-in-law is a self-published fantasy author. If you're looking for something new, his series is Legends of Calda. Nice. That's fantastic. I'm sure he would appreciate that too, Matt, that you're helping to promote his work. So Legends of Calda. And where can people find his work, Matt? And Rob says, "Get in touch via email, Matt, would love to check it out." Ed says, "I think a lot of the conflict that happened in the Wild West could have been avoided had architects in those days just made their towns big enough for everyone." Oh my goodness. Uh, that's funny. Even Matt's groaning. And Renice is agreeing with Amy, saying, "Yes, Amy." And Dennis or Denny Fry, how you doing tonight, Denny? Says your crab Louie looked real good. I harvest Dungeness out of the low tide lagoons here on the Washington coast. Good stuff. Well, I hope you'll give it a try, and I hope you like it as much as I did. And Steve is back and saying, "How did you come up with the name Kenai?" To be honest with you, when I found him, my kids and I weren't even sure if we were going to keep him or not because we still had 11 days of a 16-day overlanding trip upon us, going through 6 states and camping the entire way. And we just kept throwing names out there, like Cole and I don't even remember what some of the other names were. But when the name Kenai came, all three of us agreed to it, and it stuck. And that's how we got the name. So uh, Linda says our TV, big one, sits up unhooked up, don't know how, and don't watch TV anyway, serves as a robber deterrent. Need to carry it, and I think it's broken anyway. Yeah, I don't miss TV, that's for sure. Ah, Rob is telling me that, Ewan McGregor is an MMA fighter. That makes sense. That would make a lot more sense why he's all over the place on YouTube, because boxing doesn't really get a whole lot of attention anymore, at least from what I'm seeing. And, Matt is giving a thumbs up there, and Bill is saying, "I thought he was a tennis player." Oh my goodness. And Rob is saying, "Hello to CLP." Clint is saying he was in the MMA, past tense there. Novi is also saying hi to Seashell, and so is Bill and asking how you're doing tonight. Curmudgeon in, Rob is saying to Bill, "Nope, he is a cocky twit." Yes, quite brash, as I was saying earlier. And Jay Delaney says, "If I drink the last Guinness, don't bare fist my face." I won't. I won't. I just hope you give me a sip out of it, if nothing else. And Diana says to Rob, "I've read all of C.S. Lewis's books, and I have read all of Wilbur Smith, Sidney Sheldon, Stephen King, Dean Koontz, Diana uh, Gabaldon and Patricia Cornwell and J.K. Rowling's books. So the last book that I read, actually, well, the last couple books that I read were Stephen King and Dean Koontz, and that was when I was pregnant with my oldest son. So after a while, I stopped reading them out loud because I felt like I was probably going to give the poor uh, child nightmares in the womb. And Nomstead said, "Liquid gold works amazing on old metal stuff for a nice patina shine." Oh, well, that's good to know. I did not recognize that. And Clint says to Amy, "I love her channel too. Buttercup is beautiful." Yes, she is. And Rob is saying to Bill, or putting up Bill's channel link, everybody, over there at the Alaska's Last Frontier Homestead. Amy says, "Love boxing too. Give yourself a treat and watch some Connor clips when you get time. Irish fighter through and through." Yep, that's what I've noticed. I definitely noticed. And yeah, he is quite high-spirited. I mean, I know a lot of boxers and MMA fighters, they have a lot of energy, a lot of gusto and bravo, but, I think he takes the cake out of everybody that I've watched. And, Denise is saying to Diana, "I think we would be fast friends." Probably so. Diana's a great person. I've known her for years, and she is an awesome individual. And Rob is saying, I'm not sure if you're saying that to Diana or to Amanda. I just jumped the gun and just jumped to conclusions. I apologize. Rob has put up Gnomestead's channel link for everybody. Thank you, Rob. And Bill has put up Rob's channel link over there at the Curmudgeon Inn. So thank you for doing that, Bill. And hello, Marion. How are you doing tonight? She says hello to me and everyone else. And Longtail Texan says, "I'll guess at Alone's age, I'm not scared to stick my foot in my mouth. I'd say a very youthful 47. And I'll say that I'll never tell." And Rob has put up Adam and Phyllis's channel link there at Alaska Cut the Cord. Thank you for that. And Diana says, "Aw, we watch boxing, bare knuckle boxing, and MMA a lot. You're definitely my people." And Ed says, "Lol, getting a loan to pronounce those words was part of the joke." Yeah, I noticed. And Midnight Madness says, "Do you ever miss the lower 48?" Nope, only my family and my friends, but, not anything else really from the lower 48. And, Bill has put up a bare knuckle, fight leagues channel link. Thank you for doing that. And Diana says to Denise, "Yes, what state are you in?" Brent says, "Thanks again, Alon, for a great time. Bye for now. I've got to cook a barbecue lunch and give Kenai a scratch from me." Will do, Bren. And I hope you have a good lunch, and thank your daughter for that apron she got you with the leather straps. And Renee says, "Hope to see some fishing videos this summer." Me too. I definitely plan on getting some fishing in, and I will take you guys along for it as well. And Denise is telling Diana that she's in Kentucky, and Rob is saying goodnight to Brun. And I'm going to start signing off here as well. I'll be on for about another 6 minutes, but I just wanted to let everybody know that. And I do want to say before I start closing things out that I did want to say thank you to everybody who's joined tonight, and especially to those of you who gave a super thanks, Mike and Dogman. I really appreciate those super chats. That really helps out the channel and does make my heart uh, pitter patter, if you will. So thank you very much for that. And hello, Tara, saying great live tonight. Thank you for that. And thank you for joining us here tonight. Diana is saying, "My daddy was born in Neon, Kentucky, and it's a beautiful state." And Rosby from Michigan, how are you doing tonight, Roz? Roz says, "What did one doe say to the other doe? I'll be darned if I do for that for $2 again." Oh my goodness. Oh, that's so bad. Clint says, "Gotta hurry up and get this VHS back to Blockbuster before they close." Oh my goodness. I think you're a little late, a couple decades late, in fact. Christina says, "Good night, everyone. Good night, Alone. Sweet dreams." Good night, Christina. Thanks for being here as usual. And Emma Bowen, how are you doing tonight? What's your favorite mythology? I would probably say, um, yeah, that Mm, Greek comes to mind, but I'm not saying that that's my favorite. It's just the first thing that comes to mind because when you think mythology, I mean, when you're growing up, that's what you choose, Greek mythology. Um, but honestly, um, it's probably all of it because there's so many different cultures and they all have the same basis of things. Like when you really look into it, they're all rooted in the same types of things. And so I would say probably every bit of mythology out there interests me. And I probably don't have one favorite over the other. Um, but yeah, that's a good question. I'm gonna have to give some serious thought to that one. I've never really actually thought about it before. And Norm says to Clint, "Be kind, rewind." And, and Denise is saying that she's never heard of Neon, Kentucky, so I Googled it. Now I know why. Very, very small town. And, there is Steve's woodworking channel link. Thank you, Bill, for putting that up for everybody. Emma Bowen says, again, "What's your favorite mythology?" That question came up twice. Thank you, Emma, for that. And Clint is, laughing and saying, "Always to the Nomestead." Rob says to Diana, "Good list of books. If you like fantasy, look at R.A. Salvatore. He also did some Star Wars stuff." And um, Linda is asking Roz, or not asking Roz, but laughing and saying, "Perfect." And Pamela Drain says, "Amanda has not posted in a while. I am concerned." I thought she posted just the other day, but maybe not. But I could have sworn I saw something from her just recently, but, maybe she's traveling like, a cabin dweller was doing recently. So, hopefully, but I'll have to check in with her and see how she's doing. And Blessedly is saying good night to everyone and have a blessed one. You too, Blessedly. Thanks for joining tonight. And Seashell says, "Hello, Bill and Rob. Sorry I missed your comment. Doing well tonight. It's finally quiet after listening to the air show all weekend." Oh my goodness, that would be a lot of noise if it was right close to where you live. And or even if you're just visiting the air show. Uh, Rob is saying He is a good fighter, don't get me wrong. I just don't, uh, I I just don't the extra bravado and cockiness. Yep, yep, that's what I'm saying. When I was saying he's brash, he's like, really out there. And Clint is saying Pamela Jane, last she said she had a new job and would post when she could, if I'm not mistaken. Oh, interesting. Interesting, interesting. Well, I hope it's good for her. And Nomi is saying Erin Gobra. And Erin Gobra to you too there, Nom. And Alaska's Last Frontier is saying gridless. And AK Homegrown Road says, thank you, everyone, and good night. Thank you as well. I appreciate you being here. And thank you to Rob over at Curmudgeon Inn for moderating tonight's live stream as well. And Renise, thank you for joining tonight. Jay Delaney, thank you as always. And I appreciate the fact that you think it was a great show. Sweet dreams to you too. And yeah, I'm sure this will help lull me to sleep if nothing else does. And Pamela says, thank you to Clint. Clint says, good night, everyone. Had fun as always. Until next time, thank you for being here, Clint. Thank you for being here, Bill. Appreciate it, even if you were late to the show. And I was more than happy to join you on your last live stream. And everyone, be sure to check out Bill's channel too and his live stream, as well as Curmudgeon Inn and their live streams. And speaking of that, Rob will be having another live Friday at 5 p.m. for those who are interested. And Seashell, thank you for being here tonight. Mike, thank you again for the super chat and for being here tonight and always putting a smile on my face. And Amy, thank you as well. Love to see the channel growing, she says. It's great to connect with you and everyone. Be well, all peace and wilderness. The same to you. And Carrie Ann, thank you for being here tonight. And I hope you have a good night and check your email. I will be in contact soon with you as well. Hi, Terry. Thank you for joining, even though I'm just now signing off and I know I'm way behind in the comments, but thank you again for being here. And thank you, Ashley, as well for everything and for joining the live stream tonight and being the first person on nonetheless. And again, I want to say thank you to anybody I may have missed. And please, if you're shining in late, remember that you can watch this on a replay. So thanks again, everyone. And Falcon, I have internet because I have DSL where I'm located because I am on the road system. So to answer your question there. But again, thank you, everyone. Thank you, Linda. Thank you, Midnight Madness. Thank you, Brooklyn. And thank you, Ed and Hey Meadow, for joining here tonight. And of course, I want to say thank you to everyone who signed off earlier. And of course, Matt, thank you as well. I hope everyone has a good night, and I will see you guys all soon. Good night, Steve. Good night, Donna. Good night, Gracie.